I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Wednesday, May the 8th. Good morning. Whew. May 8th. Here's a little something that's fun. I think I broke my toe. The pinky toe on my right foot looks like what it looks like is a small mouse just crawled up next to the rest of my toe. It's just a little brown and purple mound.
I just laughed. I thought about that. If you had come in and said, I think I broke my leg, I'd be like, oh, dude. Yeah. But when you say someone broke their toe, it's like you laugh.
You have to laugh.
Did you break your toe?
I mean, if you're going to stub a toe, go for the big one.
Yeah,
don't stub the pinky toe.
Middle of the night pee kind of thing. Oh, the pinky.
I wish
it's
it were.
useless until you don't even know you have a pinky toe. You can live without a pinky toe until you hurt your pinky toe.
You can't do anything about it either.
It's just a door was ajar, and it was a weird angle, and I'm walking.
You want me to take a look at it?
And no, I don't, because that would mean not have to take this shoe off, and getting it on was damn near impossible. So I am now I'm limping around with a bad toe. Chauncey Gorman's out of his wrap. He's out of the cast. He doesn't have a bandage anymore, but still limping, very tender. So the two of us walking out to get in the car today, just look. I mean, I was thinking, like, what if someone's watching us and he's literally limping hard and I'm limping hard, and then I pick him up we just look like a couple of bozos.
A couple of Civil War soldiers.
That's exactly what it was. I heard.
Are you in need of assistance?
Yeah, I could hear like a distant fiddle coming through the mist.
No flute.
Like, man, I got to get myself back down to Dixie. It was one of those. It's Cold Mountain. I'm Jude Law walking over a mountain this morning.
Cold Mountain. Was that it? Cold Mountain?
Cold Mountain? Yeah. 12 steps to the car, or a 600-mile hike through the Blue Ridge Mountains. Maybe I'm being a tad bit dramatic, but man, like you said, Zepp, who needs a pinky toe? Not this guy until I smack it into a door.
Oh, that's going to bother you all summer long, man.
It really might.
Yeah. Because you're not going to put a boot on. You're not going to elevate your leg and take a week off or something. Not for a pinky toe. No one would respect you for that.
I will deny that it's a big deal for 3 weeks. Then I'll go get it looked at, and the guy's going to go, 3 weeks ago we could have fixed this.
We got to take this sucker off.
Yeah, just going. I broke my toe once.
Did you?
Okay, which toe?
Not my pinky, the one right next to it.
How do you break that toe and not either of the ones on the side of it?
I was at daycare or something, and some kid literally stepped on my toe and crushed it. I was sitting on the sidelines, and
how do you just step on that one toe? However,
it was terrible. And the next morning was our annual trip to the roller gardens, and I couldn't roller skate, so everyone skated without me, but they did request I Want Candy to the DJ, so they all attributed that to
me. It all balances out.
A little bow wow wow.
Yeah, man. And then for the rest of the day, everyone's like, the best skate of the day was Bow Wow Wow. You really missed out, Candace.
Look at us having all this fun without you. Yeah, there wasn't one boy that took pity on the...
Nope.
No.
Oh, man. One toe. I'm trying to think now. I refuse to go get this thing looked at. It's a broken toe. And if it's not, it's the same thing as a broken toe. You can't fix it. They're not going to place what if there was a tiny little plaster of Paris cast they could just make for it, wrap around there?
There's some Tylenol with codeine. You're not even going to get the good stuff.
No, that's about it. So can I add this to the list of broken bones? I broke my left arm in 4th grade, again in 6th grade, and then when I was 21, summer I turned 21, I broke both my arms. So I have 4 breaks. Can I add this? Can I officially add this to the list of broken bones?
Bone's a bone, sure.
I mean, we're going to allow it. However, I would lead with that one. I wouldn't end with it. I broke my pinky and then get on to the good ones.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Breaking both your arms at the same time, it's hard to squeeze the pinky toe in with that story.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so let's see. So I got 4 arm breaks, a toe break. I got a bicep tendon tear in 2020. Okay, yeah, I got a good little list. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're living your life out there, man. If you're not breaking bones, you're not living.
You're like a stunt man.
When's the last time any of us had a break or a tear or an injury? Tony, I know you've been under the weather lately, but that's not an injury, so I'm not going to count that on this list.
I've never had no breaks. No.
Never?
Oh, I got my nose knocked crooked playing football in high school.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a Zonka injury right there. Yeah. Broke my leg, broke my ankle, broke my collarbone twice, broke my back.
How long?
Dislocated my shoulder twice.
Oh,
I dislocated my shoulder twice this winter.
This winter?
Yeah, this winter. And
you never thought to mention it. You didn't mention it.
You said that
once.
last time I mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
You said, and you've never mentioned it.
And I didn't think to listen to you.
He's telling me a story about his first girlfriend from like 40 years ago and the song that was playing and it was a slightly overcast day with a light breeze out of the west at 14 miles an hour.
It's May 8th, and on this day in 1982, I met a girl that later in college I dated for 3 years. And on the way to a college graduation where we met, I heard Roseanne by Toto the first time, and I could take you to the exact place on Highway 68 I was. When I turned it up, I go, that sounds pretty good. I know exactly. Yeah, it was a big day for me. I was in 11th grade. It was my first time going to another town on my own in a car. I was going to see a college graduation. My older brother's best friend was graduating. I met his whole family that day. I met his one sister I met that day. I took her to my senior prom, and then a year later. And then a year after that in college, I dated the other sister, and we dated for 3 years.
You scammed.
And that's her birthday today. She's turning 60 today. I got to. That's just a reminder to send her a message.
You guys ever break your cheekbones?
So anyway, the point that Zepp made is I can tell you that story while forgetting that he not only told me he dislocated his shoulder this winter, but he told me 2 different times.
And
Sorry.
I called him for assistance. I was outside in the parking lot. I had fallen down. I'm like, Steve, can you come? And he forgot.
My short-term memory is admittedly a little soft. Okay, there. Something that happened on this day 42 years ago, I can pinpoint the whole day for you.
All right, I'll tell you what. We're going to run you back. We're going to test your long-term memory. We got a fantastic list coming up. People talking about being a kid in the 1970s.
That's me.
I bet we'll kick up some memories from Mr. Gorman here. Hang tight.
The KQ Morning Show is back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. What am I listening to?
Is that me? Am I playing that?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Wow. Who's striking up the band over there?
Dun, 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 dun,
Oh, for God's sake. Sorry about that.
we got a couple of dorks in glasses here. Tony and I looking at each other, looking at our control boards, looking at each other.
The best is Zepp said, is that me? And Tony goes, yep.
With confidence. With confidence, he says yes.
I didn't touch anything.
And with confidence, everyone else on the show went, yeah, Zepp.
Yeah.
Zepp! Pay attention,
Sorry about
man.
that. That was a nice march.
It really was a nice march. It's a good palate cleanse. Because whatever I was about to say is long gone. I was like, what the hell is that?
Sorry,
I thought a majorette was walking in the room or something. There was like a surprise, like a candygram about to happen. Majorette gram. Wow.
Zepp, what are you playing here?
Hang on a minute. I'm feeling a little meditative. Looking for some insight. Wow. Yeah, I tell you what. So, okay, that's great. You know what? Let's make that a feature of the show. Every now and again, someone just hit a button and they'll have no idea what's on the other side of that button.
Absolutely, we'll do that.
Yeah, that'll be great. That's awesome. Speaking of, hey, you know what we said before? We all went to school. 3 of us were school kids in the 70s. 3 of us were school kids in the 70s.
That's right.
Candace, that's a decade that's way before the 90s, just FYI. Although to my daughter, it's all the 19s. So, yeah, my daughter's 21 years old, and she literally thinks 1962 and 1997 are the same thing. Oh, that's from the 19s. Whatever.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of things that do change over time. There's a great list of things that were normal in the 70s around school specifically that now people would look at you like you were crazy. Not all about school, but a lot of them. And the first one I noticed was this, because we can all relate. In 9th grade, I was knocked out during football practice. They gave me smelling salts, called my mom to come get me, and then sat me on a stool in the parking lot to wait.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
That's actually tender, loving care. That's
back in the day.
I didn't get that. I get the old walk it off.
Did you ever experience smelling salts?
Yes, once.
No.
Okay. Like my grandparents, their next door neighbor was a funeral director. I tried it one time. It was the weirdest, strangest scent.
It was just one of those, who's going to try it? I'm like, I'll do it. And then, really not comfortable. I never got knocked out. I didn't play football. We had soccer at my school. So we started, but like football teams in the fall, the month of August was 2-a-days before school started. 7 a.m. practice, 6 p.m. practice. Right, just like football. Yeah. We're doing it for soccer. And a kid, Phil Clark, he just completely dehydrated one day on the field. And, I mean, there's big buckets of Gatorade, powdered Gatorade, add water, those things. Mm-hmm. And we're drinking it all the time. And the coach was very like, guys, just drink more than you think you need. It's, it's literally 100 degrees at 6 p.m. with full humidity. This is Kentucky, in August. And this kid, Phil, just starts to turn white. Then he starts to turn gray. And then he just collapses. He's out. And they actually called an ambulance to the field. He was in the hospital for like 3 days. And I kid you not.
For what?
For like full dehydration. He just completely went out.
I thought dehydration was something that only started happening in the 80s because we weren't allowed to have water.
He was the first one. He broke the door open so that others could. He crawled so others could walk or something. I don't know. So he was just gone for like the rest of the week.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, coach, everything okay with Phil? He's going to be fine. Okay, listen, on this drill, we're going to go. And we all watched a friend of ours who we thought he died.
Yeah.
And there was not we're going to have a counselor at school tomorrow. It was just, hey, we got to get back into that 3v2 drill. Let's go get him out of here.
We don't have time. Oh, they held water back when I was growing up. I remember starting football. You'll get water when you get the play right, and it was August. Yeah, it was 95 degrees out, But that's the way it was played back then. Yeah.
How about this one? In the late 70s, during the gas crunch, I would take my teacher's Cadillac and wait in line to get her gas. But teachers giving the keys to their car, that happened in my school. I took my English teacher's car in 11th grade. We had a class, there was some project. She's like, well, what we need is some of those glue sticks or whatever. It wasn't glue sticks, but it was something.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she goes, you have your license, right? And I go, yeah. She goes, here. And in the middle of, and I didn't think twice. I hopped in her Honda Prelude, and I turned it on. First of all, I got into my English teacher's car, and I was like, man, she smokes like a fire, like a chimney.
I was just going to say, ashtray stuffed full of
ashtray
butts.
Stuffed. And then I turned that car on, and Misty Mountain Hop on cassette had been what she'd been listening to it that morning. It came on at full volume.
Cool
and I was
teacher.
I was like, I need to think about Kathy.
Wow. Yeah, I need to think about
Led
Kathy.
Zeppelin 4 blasting. I was like, holy crap, I didn't know.
That says a lot about you too, Brown Noser, because guess who wasn't getting the keys to their teacher's car?
Yeah.
That's where they turn around and go, hey, oh, no, not you. The kid behind you, Daryl, here, you go take my car. Mm-hmm. I would have been long gone in that car for a while.
How about this one? And I bet if you go back to the 50s, there's going to be people who have the atom bomb drills, the Red Scare. But check this out. Yeah. If there was a tornado drill or an actual tornado, all of the students would move to the hallway, the girls would kneel down, and the boys would lean over the girls to protect us.
Oh, wow. Chivalry is not dead.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yeah, in the case of an atomic bomb, we would shield them from the blast.
Yes, of course.
And what we're really doing is getting a boner in school. I mean, come on.
Getting?
You can't get that coke.
Getting or managing?
Managing
at all times.
The boner, yes.
Jeez. I've had this conversation with my wife and other people for, off and on. The idea of, God, it must be uncomfortable, middle school and high school to be a guy with all those hormones. And I'm like, there's no way to explain it.
Yeah.
It's like you literally, you'll look at the fire alarm and go, I don't know. There's something kind of hot about that fire alarm. I mean, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
That's why when women complain about childbirth, I'm like, well, try getting a boner in public sometime. Man. It's about the same thing. No, I'm kidding, of course. But here's one, and I have conversations all the time, especially with these small town kids here in Minnesota. But someone writes, in 1976, in my advanced English public speaking class, our first speech was to be a demonstration speech. I demonstrated how to disassemble, clean, and reassemble a 12-gauge shotgun. No one thought anything about me having this weapon in school. Nope. We used to go hunt during lunch breaks. During breaks in high school, we kept our shotguns, and we'd go down. There was a barn across the street from the school where there'd be a lot of pigeons, and it was World War III every day at lunch. But, guns are hanging in the...
All right, so we'll get back to this. This is some pretty good stuff. I do like the what happens, the PE teacher, the way they used to solve beefs between two students. We'll get into all this, but we also have some history to share with you, as well as, of course, the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, and this is the Mike Evans Hollywood Report.
Hey, good morning, Minneapolis, St. Paul. How about those Timberwolves? I mean, just spanking Denver on Monday. I love it. I got to get hold of my bookie, too. I'll tell you what, I got money on the Timberwolves all the way. I mean, they really look like the best in the NBA right now. This report brought to you by Marcus Theaters, the best theater chain in the entire country. So lucky we have them right here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And don't forget, every Tuesday, $6 gets you into any movie at Marcus Theaters. Hey, we start off with something different. It's an instant pop quiz question. I'll give you the answer at the end of the report. Driving to work, play along. Here we go. What do Sylvester Stallone, Kaylee Cuoco, Mark Wahlberg, Rod Stewart, Hilary Swank, Matthew McConaughey, Nicole Kidman, and Julia Roberts, other than acting, what do they all have in common? I'll give you the answer in just a minute. Different strokes for different folks. Department. While a slew of egos, super rich, overpaid, over-the-top celebrities are prancing around at the Met Gala in New York, wearing gowns that cost more than most of us make in a year. However, Blake Lively and husband Ryan Reynolds declined to go for the second year in a row, instead saying they will spend the time taking their kids on picnics and outings. And here's a sidebar you're not going to hear anywhere else. Just a couple of blocks from where the gala is taking place, there is a huge food pantry where the needy and homeless are being fed. At the same time, there are some celebrities of the gala that are complaining that their swag bags weren't good enough. Something wrong there. Is it true? The Kansas City Chiefs have talked to Travis Kelce about being careful when partying during the offseason. Don't have too much fun, but it should be pointed out, I know Steve knows this, every NFL team has had the same conversation with a lot of their players who like to party during the offseason. You just want them to be careful. But I do remember that before Taylor Swift went back to Paris for her tour this week, she had also hinted that she and Travis need to stay sober while they're out in public, which is pretty smart. And that brings me to this. I love this. In just 90 days, NFL players will be reporting to their team camps. 90 days from today. I can't wait. With summer almost here, and maybe you're planning a vacation, and you really, really love Hollywood, well, here are some Airbnbs that you might want to consider that are actually for rent for short-term vacations. For just a few days or a couple of weeks, the X-Men Mansion, the Up House from Disney. I hear Prince's Purple Rain House is for rent. The Home Alone house. Unbelievable. And the pop quiz question, here you go. What do Sylvester Stallone, Kaylee Cuoco, Mark Wahlberg, Rod Stewart, Hilary Swank, Matthew McConaughey, Nicole Kidman, Julia Roberts, other than acting, what do they all have in common? The answer is they've all moved out of Los Angeles. They give a lot of reasons: traffic, crime, taxes, and more. Personally, I don't blame them a bit. Hey, how about those Timberwolves? Okay, Mike Evans, see ya.
Mike Evans, Hollywood Report. This is, of course, the KQ Morning Show. We were all... hold on a minute. You know what? I almost forgot to mention. You can catch up with this very show, the KQ Morning Show, in podcast form. We do have in-depth interviews. Oh, like Lady Jane Seymour on yesterday's show. We have a good time. We have a lot of laughs. Anywhere you get podcasts, anytime you want. And that podcast is sponsored, Candace Wheeler, by our good friends.
Oh, at Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies.
Oh, at Devani's Pizza and Hot Hoagies. How weird was it to be a school kid in the 70s? Pretty weird. And we're talking about some of the things that we can't believe actually happened. We'll get back into that in a few. Hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, May the 8th. Good morning. I want to thank you to Nicole, who wrote in a note. I smashed my pinky toe. And it's just killing me. And she wrote, I've broken my toes many times. Okay, first of all, I got to stop there. Why? How? I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, put some shoes on.
Dropping bowling balls? What's happening many
They're
times?
called steel toe boots.
She said buddy tape to another toe, which we talked about. Place a small amount of cotton between the toes. Tape for 1 to 2 weeks. Hard sole shoes, you'll be okay. All right, Nicole, thanks. I'm going to try it.
All right.
No, really, I appreciate that. This is driving me crazy.
Yeah.
You don't really care about that pinky toe until you smack it into something really hard, and then
there it is.
And then you care a whole lot. A little bit of regional news of note in Princeton, Minnesota, yesterday. Man, this is mind-boggling. Yesterday, early morning, a house done blowed up real good, as they used to say on the Farm Film Report. A house literally just exploded as if it were a dynamite factory.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just gone.
Yeah, just little bits and pieces strewn everywhere. Clothes in the home, scattered throughout the trees, the neighboring trees. It's devastating.
The footage from news helicopters is, it looks like, a personal-sized F5 tornado just came down for one home. It's completely obliterated. The couple that lives there were killed, to a 61-year-old man and a 61-year-old woman. The cops up there on the scene, everybody involved is like, we've never seen anything like this. The stories, the word is that people heard this explosion up to 23 miles away.
Yeah, it's a big boom.
That is a colossal boom. I've heard when we lived in California, the space shuttle, one of the space shuttles was re-entering over the state of California, and the sonic boom when it came through, or I don't know, it was re-entering or landing. All I know is one day, it felt like the whole city shook, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's a shuttle." I'm like, what? And how how loud can something be where all of Southern California hears it at the same moment?
When I was a kid, there used to be a lot of sonic booms for some reason. They did a lot of testing around the airport.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an incredible
I can
sound.
still hear booms in Richfield. There's like a community page on Facebook that talks about the Richfield booms.
Really?
What's the source of it?
Boom.
No one knows.
All right, here's Mille Lacs County Sheriff Chief Deputy Aaron Evanson.
knows.
Morning at approximately 3:53 a.m., Mille Lacs County Emergency Communications Center started receiving multiple 911 calls of a possible explosion in this area. Within 8 minutes, the initial deputies arrived on scene. They noted a large debris field, partially still on fire. With the assistance of the Baldwin, Malacca, and Princeton Fire Department, they were able to extinguish that fire and started searching through the debris field. They did manage to locate 2 individuals, both were pronounced deceased at scene. 1 adult male and 1 adult female, both believed to be residences of this home, both in their early 60s, as well as what appears to be the family dog. Cause of the explosion at this time remains unknown. We are currently working with the State Fire Marshal's Office to attempt to determine that cause, and we will continue to update as we find out more information.
Seeing a scene like this, in clothing in the trees.
To be honest with you, this is the first time I've seen it in the daylight hours. It is very impressive. I've heard from people upwards of 23 miles away from this residence to the north that heard this explosion this morning, trying to decide if it was thunder or something else. This is by far, in my 20 years of responding to emergency calls, this is the largest explosion I've ever seen.
Wow.
All right, I'm
61-year-old Royce Edward Kreger and 61-year-old Catherine Ann Kreger, the victims.
Man,
And the dog.
What it's got to be a gas line or something. I mean,
You'd think.
That's twice I've mentioned that people died, and twice the dog was mentioned, and Candace went, "Oh,
I know."
Yeah. That's how that works.
It's horrible.
yes, no, I know." By the way, I did Google Richfield booms.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now too. I was going to say we're about to go down a rabbit hole here.
It's a phenomenon. It turns out that they've linked it to meth lab explosions. Almost all of them.
At the Wheeler household.
Interesting.
Yeah. They said
Yeah.
only 2 things grow in Richfield here: cold sores and meth labs.
Cold sores and meth labs. Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, someone even made a map documenting all of the areas where they heard the booms. I've heard the booms at night. I thought it was a gunshot, but apparently I'm just going to say it was a boom.
Isn't that an old? It's a kid's song. Boom, boom. Ain't it great to live in Richfield?
It's a John Lee
Boom,
Hooker
boom.
song. I heard it yesterday with Big Head Todd and the
That's right.
Monsters right here on 92.5. Boom, 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 boom.
There's a few Facebook groups. Candace, there's the Richfield, Minnesota community page, and on that one, I right away opposed booms last night. Anyone? Like they're talking about it. But then there's one there's a page called Richfield, Oh, Did You Hear That Boom community group.
All right.
What in the hell is going on in Richfield?
I've accepted it now. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Here's a post from the community page. Guys, I've noticed a lot of pets going missing. What if it has something to do with those Richfield booms? Okay, now we're just all losing.
Yeah, right. I mean, do you sometimes get together in Richfield and get a little concerned? It's been like 2 weeks since I've heard a boom. I'm a little worried.
I think Tony was right when you mentioned it
Meth
had to
labs?
do something with the airport because we're so close to the airport.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, that happened a lot.
Yeah, no more sonic booms, obviously, these days from our airports. But we still have the Air Guard, but those are C-130s. Those are
they're not sonic booming.
Who
No.
knows?
Wow.
But maybe just gearing down. I don't know what the booms are. I'd have to hear one of the booms. Why do I have a feeling it's not even a boom? It's probably like a thud. Someone ran into a tree again.
Back in the good old days,
A balloon.
when we were kids, if you'd been like, what are those booms? People would have just looked at you right in the eye and gone, don't worry about it.
Yeah, none of your business. Yeah, don't you worry about it. You just
pull out your algebra book.
Yeah, just go outside and play.
The things that were going on that seemed totally normal back in the day for kids of the 70s like us. On the KQ Talk and text line, feel free to give us a shout or hit the text line 651-989-ROCK. Here is a text from somebody. In the 70s, we got spanked by teachers. I ate a lot of soap for dropping F-bombs, too. I mentioned it yesterday. I in Kentucky, they were still paddling students throughout the 70s, into the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
By the early 90s, I believe they finally said, let's stop smacking our kids with paddles. But, yeah, I spent 5th through 12th grade under constant threat of someone pulling out a paddle and smacking my ass with it really hard.
Yeah, at home and at school. Paddles everywhere.
Yeah, no, I grew up.
And now I have a fetish for it.
Myself and my siblings, we've all had the conversation. We grew up in the house where it was like, well, if we can just survive this, the real world's fine.
That was the idea, to get you ready for the real world. We don't do that anymore. That's why the basement is now the apartment.
Anyway, there's so many things that we all have. And by the way, speaking of this house explosion, I don't recall a house explosion, but here's something that I associate with very much the 70s, which is several times in the neighborhood I grew up in, a house would catch fire. And what did all of the neighborhood kids do? We all raced to the fire and stood right outside on the street.
Right.
And we just watched a neighbor's house burn down several times. Three specific house fires I can remember. 2 times by the time I got there, the firemen were already on scene. But there was one, we walked out of school, and right across from the school, there was the Carabinas family, Greg Carabinas. As I'm sure you've already put together, Tony, we called him Greg Carry My Penis.
Of course.
The Carabinas house.
Yeah.
We walked out of school, and the Carabinas' house was on fire, and there was no one there yet. I mean, the upstairs, it was like a movie fire. Upstairs windows, flames shooting out, smoke going crazy, and we just all run across the street, and there's 100 kids standing there, and then finally you hear the sirens coming. I mean, it was like it had just started and took over really quickly, and that whole thing was a loss.
Amazing.
I'm just like, wow. And you would just smell it for weeks. It'd get in your nose, like the smell of that house fire. So there was a few of those in my neighborhood as a kid, and they always made me. They were fascinating, but then I would just be so sad later. Just go home and go like, well, I guess that means that could happen to my house.
Yeah,
it was a freaky thing. But I think now the point I was making was nobody came up and said, "Hey, you kids, get out of here."
Yeah, something could explode.
Yeah, it was
it's unsafe.
Or even just uncouth. You know what I mean? I think now people would be like, that's not appropriate. Don't watch.
Just to watch a house fire?
Yeah, I think people would probably
have supposed to do? Turn your back?
Well, yeah.
There's nothing happening down there. That house isn't on fire.
Nothing to see here.
Everybody go home. There was a famous Gorman family story at one of the house fires. It was on the cul-de-sac at the top of the hill, right? We lived at the bottom, up at the top. And we all ran up and we were watching. And I'm probably 6. So little kid. And there was a kid in our neighborhood who was back in the day, it was just, we would have called him the R word, and now you'd say he's mentally disabled. But he was big and strong and just not quite adept socially, and full size, like man sized, and he was probably 15, and he just walked over to me, 6 years old, and he picked me up and threw me like just like a bag of clothes into a holly bush. I was flying airborne.
Yeah.
He just picked me up, the strength of 6 men, and threw me through the air. And it was pretty traumatizing, and I was scared to death of him already. And then this happened. And I got up, and I was kind of crying, and I was freaked out. And the holly, the sticker, I got scratches all over me. Holly leaves. And my brother Tom walked up to him, and everybody was like, hey, it's okay. He doesn't know what he's doing. And Tom said, oh, really? And he punched the guy in the mouth so hard that he fell like an oak tree. And everybody was like, you can't hit him. And Tom said, what, again? Or he didn't care. And that established, for me anyway, don't mess with any of the Gormans. There's a lot of them. And the older brothers will kill you. Because that crazy person had no problem hitting the boy with special needs. It was like, it's a really weird moment. But again, it was the 70s. There was no fallout from that.
Yeah, right.
Everybody just went home. If that happened now, it'd be on Dateline.
Oh, yeah, it'd be sued.
Yeah, without question. How about this one from the on the list? In the late 70s, at school, we took each other's blood samples so we could type test and do the time clotting testing.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever do that with a friend? You cut your hand and you're like blood brothers.
Yeah, blood brothers.
Yeah.
With the knife, and you would kind of, just kind of scratch it a little bit.
Sure.
So,
I thought only chicks did
not
that.
like in the movie where you. Chicks got it from guys.
Oh.
Wait, you were blood sisters?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's gross. Oh, you mean, did you cut? Never mind.
Oh, boy.
Grody.
How about this one? In the early 70s, I was in junior. You read the shotgun one, Zep. I was in junior ROTC at my high school. I was on the shooting team. Mm-hmm. They provided me with a .22 caliber handgun and ammunition to take home, so I would have it for shooting competitions.
Yeah.
We didn't even have adults supervising us at competitions. I got a high school letter for my performance, just like football and basketball players.
Yeah, they gave you a gun and ammunition in the classroom, and you're on your own.
Wow.
But yeah, maybe more gun laws.
Yeah, maybe.
No, at all. We didn't shoot each other back in the day.
That's right.
We could handle it.
My high school class had a trip to a mortuary and got to look inside the crematorium while a body was in it. Very different times.
That's
cool. It's like the scene in is it Fast Times at Ridgemont High when the crazy science teacher takes the whole class and they're like watching an autopsy or something.
The autopsy.
And my brother Doug shadowed our next door neighbor who was an orthopedic surgeon, and so he was a senior in high school, and they had the shadowing program and follow a local businessman or a market. Go to the insurance guy and see. It was just whatever. You'd leave. The seniors would get out for an hour twice a week and shadow somebody. And my brother had it in his head he was going to be a doctor. He's like, I'll be like Dr. Vance. I want to be a surgeon. That'll be cool. And Dr. Vance, Dr. Joe, if you knew him, he said, yeah, come to the hospital and just do the rounds. And he'd show. So, like, he's setting broken bones in casts.
Yeah.
He's just doing orthopedic stuff and fixing and x-raying people. And my brother's just standing next to him. And then one day, he went to the hospital to meet up with Dr. Joe. And he said, all right, you're going to come into surgery, scrub up. And my brother was a high school senior, and he was in the OR for a leg amputation.
Oh, that is awesome.
That is a true story.
That's awesome.
Take a swipe with the blade, youngster.
Get in here and just work this
He did not handle a scalpel. He didn't get the chainsaw in his hands, whatever he used. But he literally, and this is 1980 or 81. Word got out, and then there was like a, hey, Doc, that's a bit much, But I remember Doug coming home, and he was always a very confident guy, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to med school. I'm going to be a doctor. And then I was like, hey, so how, we're talking. He goes, yeah, it's kind of weird today. I'm like, what happened? He goes, I saw a guy's leg get cut off. I'm like, wait, what? Hold on, what?
Yeah, he had him bite down on some leather and threw it in a pile. And
yeah, Dr. Joe took me into surgery, and I got scrubs on and didn't wash up and all, and he just cut a guy's leg off. And I'm like, wait, you were in there? I couldn't believe it.
Did he change his mind about his career choice?
I think reality did. Yeah, just like, I got to get what grades in college?
I did that career thing. That's why I'm convinced I'm in radio. You filled out your card. What do you want to be? Mine was daredevil. I want to be a daredevil. So they sent me to, I hung out in Huron, South Dakota with an American Family insurance salesman all day in his office. That was my career day. And I went, not punching a clock for a living. Dodgeball. You can't do dodgeball anymore. That's outlawed in schools.
Oh, my God.
We used to first of all, you creamed all the girls and the chubby kids. You got them out right away, just mercilessly. Oh, in the face with those red rubber balls. And they would just sting and bounce off you and go like 50 yards up to the ceiling. And then, then the rest of then we took it out on each other.
On the KQRS Facebook page, we've got a lot of posts. Holy smokes. Let's see, a lot of comments from people.
There are a few on here, and I do remember this. And there's one in this BuzzFeed article we're looking at where teachers, there was a little spat in the classroom, especially between a couple of boys. It was, all right, let's take it outside. The example they give here is they would put them in boxing gloves and let them settle it in the ring. No, not our teacher. Yeah, I can't remember his Stolzmark, Mr. Stolzmark. He'd be like, all right, come on. He'd take us out behind the school. He'd go at it for a while. And you'd start. I remember one time going out there and we just decided we didn't want to fight anymore. And he kind of egged us on. He was like, we're like, no, the moment's kind of gone. We don't. He's my friend. I don't want to. He's like, well, don't bring it back in the classroom. Get out. I think he just liked to watch young men fight.
Man, there was a moment in our my buddy Jimmy Gunning. We're like fourth grade. He got into it at school with a kid named Bobby Henstrand, and Bobby was like, didn't want to fight, and he refused to fight, and Jimmy's like, you're a chicken, and we're all like, yeah, Bobby, you're a chicken, and Bobby said the most shocking words anybody had ever said. He said, come over to my house after school, we'll see who's chicken. And so we're like, oh my God, he's inviting Jimmy to come kick his ass. Yeah. So there's like 5 of us, and we roll up, and we get to Bobby's house, and his dad, who was we lived right near Annapolis, so a lot of Navy people. His dad was a Navy officer, and his dad walked right out, and he had 2 sets of boxing gloves. He goes, we're going to do this the old-fashioned way.
Nice.
And so Bobby wasn't able to consider like fighting with an actual just like street fight, which meant, pulling hair and, choke holds and all that. But he laced up the gloves, and he just kicked the living snot out of my buddy Jimmy Gunning, who you'd never want to fight. But in a boxing with his dad, like, now we're going to do this like a real boxing match. It's just punches. And Bobby just worked him over, and we were like, man, that's actually kind of cool.
It is cool.
Right. You're not as much of a dork as we thought you were.
You're a pugilist.
Yeah. Wow.
I hear this one only in Minnesota. Candace, Tony, enlighten me here. This didn't happen in South Dakota, but there's a couple of posts on the KQ Facebook post being forced to swim naked in junior high gym class.
Naked?
Yes.
Yeah, so Tony, right.
Like for
Candace,
1 year, and it's like kind of a foggy memory.
Junior high?
Yeah, like the first year junior high, and you had to swim
naked,
nudie. Yeah,
girls and boys.
No, just the boys.
Yeah.
And I remember we were all like, "Oh God, what's the point?"
Yeah, we can't put trunks on? Nope. Take
naked.
them off. Naked.
What on
naked
earth?
In the pool?
Yeah, there's more than one post on here. Seriously, being forced to swim naked in junior high gym class. Not kidding.
Yeah.
And then another person chiming in. I read in another group they did the same thing. I couldn't believe. Odd. It's a Minnesota thing.
It was odd. It lasted like 1 year, and it's a really weird kind of hazy memory. I almost don't believe it happened, but it did.
Nothing. Yeah.
I see. Whereas I would, if that had been my experience, I don't think it would be hazy. I think it would be crystal clear what was going on at the
There's
time.
been so much nudity in Tony's
public
nudity.
That's
in
very
Tony's
good point.
life.
I blocked to get out.
It's probably Tony's idea.
Yeah.
There was a lot of giggling.
We can swim faster if we take them off.
Get all greased
man.
up.
The weirdest things that would never happen now, and back in the day, it was just Tuesday. Hit the KQRS Facebook post. Keep them coming. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talk and text line. Hang tight.
The KQ Morning Show is back, and we always want to hear from you. Call or text 651-989-ROCK. 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is May the 8th. About an hour from right now, we're going to give away tickets to see the Twins and the Seattle Mariners tomorrow night at Target Field. There's going to be a runner-up prize to go to the kickoff to the summer at the Fair May 23rd.
Oh, yeah.
And here is the news of the day. If you want to get in on that game, you're going to have to beat the toaster.
We're going to burn it down.
1
It's
hour
back.
from now, baby. We're going to char some bread. We're cooking up some toast. I'm so excited. This is the official return of Tony Lee with the Beat the Toaster game.
Dun, dun, dun.
On the KQ Talk and text line, What's the number?
651-989.
651-989 Rock. Where in the world did my brain just go? 651-989 Rock. You can text or give us a call. So far, we were talking about some things from the 70s in school that seem weird looking back. And Tony mentioned nude swimming. On the text line, Ken texted, nude swimming, 7th grade, Osseo Junior High, 1973.
Right.
So, and there's a few people have all commented. Yes, that was true. Yes, we were doing that.
That's 12. That's boner years.
Weird.
I mean, not that you would get just saying, because you're swimming, the water's cold, and everybody's standing there shivering. But just what was the reason?
Horrifying.
Was it just the idea that, well, we're not going to burden the parents to send swim trunks to school? They've got enough to do.
There was a guy who did spring one, and he did live that down. Yeah.
Oh, and of course he didn't live it down.
And you know his name, and you're not saying it, but I guarantee you know who it is.
Yeah,
why are you fidgeting,
Everybody
Tony?
does.
Are you that kid?
Everybody in my class, if you say just that one name, they know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Thanks for the scars, teachers.
Yeah, oh my gosh, my school, and I went to a really small school, so everybody knew everybody, and whether you saw anything happen or not, you knew about it within an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And there are still people to this day. I mean, I remember I was at an event like 15 years ago, and I saw a kid who I'd gone to school with. I mean, I had not seen him since like 1983, and he is a very successful businessman in front of his own children. And I was like, yo, Mongo, what's up, man? You can't help it.
Mongo only pawn in Game of Life.
That was his nickname, and his I'm like, I'm sorry, David, how you doing, bro? I was like, what's wrong with me? But that's what you do. You just go right back.
Yeah, that boy, his name became, that was synonymous for having a boner.
I popped wasn't Gary, was it? Gary's Got a Boner, the Matt song. Jeff Hamilton, so this would have been like 1979, puked out his nose. He kind of like, it was in music class or choir or whatever, and he was in the front row, thank God, and he barfs, and a lot of it comes out of his nose.
Really?
We're back home, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago in Woolsey, and my brother goes, hey, look, it's that kid that barfed out his nose. We're all in our 50s now.
Of course.
But Jeff Hamilton will forever be that kid that barfed out his nose.
Of course.
A few years ago, an alumni soccer game, like all the guys from my age, back in the summer, they all get together, and they stopped doing it probably after my brother Doug played and his Achilles tendon popped just running down the field at 52 years old, like, ouch. But as far as I know, they don't do it anymore. But the first time we had one was 20 years ago, summer of 2004. And I go back, and this kid, right away, and I'm like, oh, that's the kid that we made him sleep in the rollaway bed folded over him. Like his feet were out one side, his legs out the other, and we folded it up. And on an overnight soccer trip, that's how he slept. And this guy's an Air Force major or colonel. He's a decorated Air Force officer, and I'm like, that's the guy we made sleep in a rollaway bed. Everything that's happened since doesn't mean a thing. He's still that kid.
I mean, he could have come back literally from a moon landing.
Yeah,
and he's
sure.
Still going to be that kid. How about Mark here on the KQ Facebook
Sorry.
post?
Somebody, somewhere along the way, someone saw Neil Armstrong and went, I gave that guy the biggest wedgie in his life.
I gave him a swirly. Remember the swirlies?
Exactly right.
Mark mentions that in high school. Yeah, I remember BB gun practice in gym class. We had a gym class where we got the BB guns out.
Oh,
right,
my.
everybody grab a
we had
daisy.
BB guns.
No way.
Sure.
Yeah, put an eye out. And we were not wearing goggles or eye protection either.
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so many of these things. If for no other reason, I mean, like in the modern age, there's a million reasons why none of these things will still happen. But it does speak to the world we live in now. You said something during the commercial breaks up. You just assume everywhere you go, you're on camera.
Oh yeah, I'm constantly. My phone. In fact, I said something. I was muttering to myself walking around the pad yesterday, and I'm like, what is that? Is there someone outside my window? I walk into my bedroom, it was my phone playing a song that I was singing. I don't know, apparently Siri just thought I wanted to hear that song then. Everything
that's so sweet.
And that
you love the
she's my gal.
Carpenters.
Yeah, I have been calling her Maria a lot these past few years, but it's really just my phone. There she is. My girl, my gal.
The reality is we are at all times being watched and listened to. There's just no getting around it. And check this out. There's a company called the Mozilla Foundation, and they are a watchdog company of sorts. And they want to let us know, I should say, modern cars. If you have a newish car, they call them basically surveillance machines on wheels.
Yeah.
They reviewed all 25 car brands they reviewed, and they say sensors, microphones, cameras, they're collecting way more data than you would ever need to actually operate your vehicle. They can share and sell that information to third parties. The car companies themselves, I remember being told, watching one of those crime shows, and the guy just said, basically, if you're going to commit a crime somewhere, borrow someone else's car. Your car, if you have a car that's 10 years old or less, it's keeping a GPS that you don't even know exists.
Oh, yeah.
The computer in your car knows exactly where that car has always been.
Your car is a computer. There's what did they say what did you say? 200 microchips in
I didn't
car
say,
now?
but that's something it's just saying, like, you can't, and it's really hard to disable those things. But it's just, remember probably 10 years ago, we all started saying, like, I think my phone's listening to me.
Right.
And all the companies now are like, well, yeah, it just is. And we all accepted it. You're just like, oh, well, okay. The idea that there's privacy anymore, it's just so...
If you're going to make an effort at privacy, there was a guy on, I forget which late night show, that decided that I'm going to shut down everything digitally that might be spying on me. Mm-hmm. You're basically a pronounced Luddite. You just as well buy yourself a manual typewriter and find a shack somewhere in Montana and start typing away a manifesto. You're off the grid means I don't even know how you pay a bill. I don't even know how you'd own something today.
Yeah, I think the only way to really successfully pull that off is first get like $50 million. Then hire people around you to be on the grid for you.
Yes,
and then
right.
You could just pretend you're off the grid.
Yeah.
But you ain't getting off that grid.
I just took like social media off my phone. I took Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, any of that stuff. I just completely took it off my phone. Mm-hmm. And it annoys people. Somebody will say, well, just take a picture and post it on your Facebook. I will when I get home.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not going to? No, I can't. That's not on my phone. Oh, wow. Yeah, they're bothered by it.
A woman posted a video on TikTok. Somebody apparently, she was having a yard sale, and someone stole a couple of dolls from her yard sale. Which is not cool. Come on. It's a yard sale. How much
doll stealing? That's horrible.
First of all, Candace, why are you laughing? Are you a doll thief?
No, I just thought it was funny. I said that's not cool.
That sounds like an upcoming film starring Kate Winslet, the doll thief.
Although
I'm going to get those dolls. Her accent's impeccable.
Although it is a garage sale, at some point you're just hoping, just take it. Just get all this crap out of here.
Well, the woman whose dolls were stolen put a video on TikTok wishing the person who took them good luck.
Yeah.
And for a very specific reason.
Dolls out of the yard sale at 3 o'clock.
Oh, here, let me start that again.
To the thief that stole these dolls out of the yard sale at 3 o'clock this morning, you're going to regret it. They're haunted. Had you waited till sunlight, you would have seen the sign that was under them that said haunted dolls. If you have children, please don't buy. I put them in this glass hutch to try and contain whatever was attached to them, and it got so cold that it fogged up. No takesies, backsies. Nobody wanted them because I warned everyone and showed them the videos of what these dolls do when they're in your vicinity, because they were not scared to move right in front of you. Enjoy.
Oh, all right. So, first of all, you were selling haunted dolls. Second, that sounds like a moneymaker to me. Thirdly, how do you know the dolls were stolen?
Maybe they just walked on out of there under their own two doll feet.
Thank you, weirdo. Oh, this gal.
First of all, to the person who stole them, I just want to say good luck. They're haunted.
Yeah.
My gosh.
You're dead. You're a walking dead person with those dolls.
I feel that though, mine were stolen. I told you guys my stones, my bracelets were stolen from me. And whoever has those on right now, you're going to get some weird
Wait, hold on.
energy.
Dolls, stones, or bracelets? What are you talking about?
My bracelets, I was at the gym and I took them off. And no one turned them into lost and found. So I'm assuming someone picked them up and is wearing them right now.
Oh, and they're your source of power,
I
like Wonder Woman.
let you know out there that good luck.
Do you now? Speaking of Wonder Woman, can you, like Almighty Isis, block bullets with these bracelets?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that'd be kind of cool.
If they brought you luck, why wouldn't they bring someone else luck?
Because it's my luck.
Because Candace didn't steal
My
them.
energy.
It's the thievery that gets in the way of the luck.
Karma. Gotcha.
That's what that comes down to. There's a guy who plays for the Philadelphia Eagles on the offensive line, Jordan Mailata. I don't know how you say his name. Mailata, who I want. No, that's not it. He is 6 feet 8 inches tall, and he weighs 374 pounds.
Big boy.
This is an absolute bell cow on that offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles. Before every game, he has the exact same dinner the night before. That dinner consists of an entire box of bow tie pasta with shrimp, pink sauce, spinach, sun-dried tomatoes, and garlic, alongside a 20-ounce steak and 3 pieces of garlic bread.
Well,
3. I imagine by 3 pieces, these are not small pieces.
No.
So 3 of those, a 20-ounce steak and an entire box of bow tie pasta. Then breakfast again, that's the night before. Game day breakfast, an 8-egg omelet.
8? Wow.
4 eggs, 4 egg whites.
Yeah.
Got to watch that cholesterol. With spinach, mushrooms, and cheese, 4 to 8 pancakes, depending on the size of the pancake.
Oh, boy.
I could take a run at that.
I could get a T-shirt out of it.
Yeah.
In college, I could have gone there, I think.
Yeah.
There was the Shoney's had the all-you-can-eat breakfast buffet when I was in college on Sundays.
Yeah.
And the first time I didn't know such a thing existed, like breakfast food as much as you want. And the first time I went in there, I mean, I truly put on a feed bag for the ages. I was like, I just couldn't stop eating those little cheese omelets and sausage links and bacon and biscuits with gravy. And I just kept going back and back. And I was with some friends. And after a while, and this was all college kids, and after a while, they're like, hey, dude, like, are you okay? And I was just like, I mean, I don't have to eat till Tuesday. That's how I looked at everything back then. No, don't you understand? This is giving me 48 hours of sustenance. This will be fantastic. But I just can't imagine getting up and then going and playing a football game after the 8-egg omelet on top of the bow tie pasta and steak the night before.
Well, maybe that's eating light for him. You know, it's game day, so I'm going to tune it back. I was trying to figure out where this at. Oh yeah, Tin Cup over in St. Paul.
Sorry?
The Tin Cup, they have the Lucy Challenge.
Oh, okay.
They call it the Lucifer. To complete the challenge, you have to eat 2 1-pound burgers stuffed with pepper jack cheese, jalapenos, Diablo sauce, with 2 pounds of fries in 45 minutes. You think you could do that?
No.
A couple of pounds of
Not
chuck,
a chance.
all loaded up, and then a couple of pounds of fries.
You ever see what The Rock eats on his cheat day?
No.
Look that up. It's astounding.
Really?
An entire table full of everything you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
It can't be fattening. You know, it seems like you don't want any empty carbs.
This is I just hope that it's there's got to be fiber supplements too. I mean, just seriously, if I ate this meal and then had to get out there, and I'd be worried about soiling myself on the field. I'm just going to say it. That's the first thing. That's where my brain goes. That could be sad. Oh well. What are you going to do? You guys 6'8", 374.
That is massive.
He did say the one time he substituted a meal and went for a large serving of ramen, he gave up a sack, and then he realized, no, I got to go back and eat the same thing every time.
Yeah, they're very habitual. They get superstitious too.
Oh, sure they do.
Here's one in Takaru, Kobayashi, Japan. You have to eat 57 cow brains in 15 minutes. How many cow brains? I've never put back more than 2 or 3.
How big is a cow brain?
I don't know, but I mean,
you should know that.
Why?
The farm.
Yeah, we don't dissect them.
Well, I thought that was part of the process.
No, we butcher them. We don't get in the brain. Although, I mean, it's a cow.
They're
I'm going to say a walnut.
Man-sized.
That's funny.
They're kind of liquidy. Maybe
it's not
that tough to eat.
They have big heads but small brains. They just stand there and chew. They're idiots.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I saw something that talked about a dog's brain. It's like the size of a walnut or something.
Yeah.
Like I look at Chauncey sometimes, I'm like, he's just got the tiniest little brain.
Yeah, they're just, they're not bright. That's why we like spending time with them.
Chauncey does. I was thinking about that the other day, but Gigi, she's only 7 pounds. Like her brain is like so small.
I could eat 100 Gigi brains.
My cashew-sized brain dog, like this morning, for example, about 2:30 a.m., I just start to hear it.
Oh my God!
That's Steve's stomach when he comes to work.
Dude, you ate at 6 p.m. You're not eating yet.
The sperm whale. You guys know about
out of nowhere.
You guys know about sperm whales?
I know about
Sure.
Yes, I
Everything
know about,
there is to know.
Yeah.
7,800-pound brains.
Yeah. Brains?
Or
Yeah, they're
grams,
usually
grams,
well
but still,
read.
that's a lot.
Wait, grams or pounds? What?
Big difference between a gram and
That's
a pound. If you've ever bought drugs,
I was like, wait,
Candace.
their brains are the size of a Tesla truck? What are you telling me?
Okay, 7,800 grams is
Okay.
how much their brain weighs compared to 1,300 grams
We're
for
American
humans.
kids. That could be what, like a pound? I don't know. How much is a gram?
I don't
Unless
know.
you,
I regret
line it
this.
up on a mirror for me.
Okay, so what we're talking about, kilograms, 7.8. So times 2.2.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that
Regrets.
we're
What
talking,
you've
Regrets.
between 15 and 20 pounds.
It's a big brain.
Let's just call it that.
Yeah.
Would you guys eat a brain?
No.
No.
Animal?
Yeah,
No, I
no,
wouldn't
it's
either.
mushy. No. It's a consistency. I don't like yogurt either, or tapioca. Just
Cottage
saying
The texture.
cheese.
Is that what brain texture is to you? You think
yeah.
of tapioca?
Yeah, I think of tapioca.
Maybe it looks kind of gelatinous.
Yeah,
maybe.
gelatinous. Thank you.
Whereas I get all warm because I think about Grandma Gertrude Gorman, who loved her tapioca.
Gorman tapioca.
Yeah.
Don't put things in it. Just give me the pudding. I don't. What's in it? What are those things
With
in
the
it?
beads?
Yeah, the beads.
I don't know. Speaking of which, have you had one of these boba teas with the little bubble
Yes.
things in it? What the hell is that?
I
What's
like
going on?
that.
My daughter loves those.
I'm starting
Yeah,
to get
it's
into
weird.
it. I didn't used to like them, but now I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hit one of hers with the straw and just about choked on it. And like a ball bearing shot into my lung. I was like, what the hell did I just sip?
Yeah.
It's not cool at all. I don't know if you want to ever, work over a whole box of bow tie pasta, especially if you're trying to lose weight. But that said, we are going to have a conversation in a few minutes with a guy named Frankie Morelli. Who is he? He's an ex-con who went to prison, mob dude, and then ended up losing a ton of weight. And he's now written a bizarre cookbook, Italian culinary treasures, fitness tips, and juicy tales of real-life mobsters, along with the recipes that he picked up in the joint. Go figure. We're going to be speaking with Frankie Morelli in just a few minutes. Hang tight.
The KQ Morning Show is back. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Wednesday, May the 8th. Good morning. In about 30 minutes from right now, we're going to give away some Minnesota Twins tickets, and we're going to play Beat the Toaster for the first time in a while. We have missed it. It is back. Zepp is already starting to sweat a little.
Out of shape.
The anxiety that comes into your central nervous system when you even hear the words Beat the Toaster. It's always a thrill for me to watch you suffer through that game. And you're not even playing it. That's the best part.
All right.
You're just sweating it for our listeners.
I know. I try to play along with them, and I have yet to beat a listener. My mind goes blank, man. When that toaster slams down,
It's tough. It's
got
a
nothing.
ticking clock. That just ramps everything up. In a few minutes, we're going to talk with a guy named Frankie Morelli. Got out of the joint, served some time in a federal penitentiary, and wrote a cookbook of recipes and stuff he worked on while in prison. This is a restaurateur and a chef who was already in the food industry successfully before going into prison. It's going to be a fascinating story, I'm sure.
I wonder if these are these things he made while he was in prison?
And not only that, along the way, lost 100 pounds. So it's like Italian food that you can apparently lose weight. We'll get the whole story here in just a few minutes. That's how that one's going to go. In the meantime, on the KQRS Facebook page, we've got so many posts of people commenting on a bit of a theme, things that were normal back in the day at school that now would be completely mind-blowing if you came across them. And so many many of these comments that we've been sharing with you. Nuclear fallout drills. I didn't have those in the 70s, but my older siblings certainly remembered those.
Yeah.
Growing up more in the 60s. This is one I love from Carol. A group of kids, everyone called them the bakery hoods. The use of the word hood. That alone. What are those hoodlums you're hanging around with? They would walk across the street from our high school every day at lunchtime, and they could stand around a bakery and smoke cigarettes. And you could just hear a teacher going, you could be doing so well, but you just want to hang out with those bakery hoods. You need to make better choices, young man. Just don't. I love bakery hoods. That's just fantastic. Yeah. Chris Williams wrote on the Facebook page, 21 inches of snow on the ground. The buses aren't running. Start walking because school ain't closed. That's a fact. I'm still shocked. More than I would have ever imagined possible, the number of people commenting, oh, yeah, we used to swim naked at school. The nude swimming in gym class.
Here it is, Robbinsdale, Duluth. I mean, they're
Highland
scattered
Park.
all over the place, yeah.
But you got a text. Somebody told you, Zepp, the reason for that goes way back, right?
Yeah.
You said...
Yeah, thank you, Donnie. It was. It started back in the YMCAs back in the late 19th centuries when most of the swimming suits were wool. And they had all sorts of bacteria. The wool would, come off the swimming suit. And they didn't have... sophisticated filtration systems like we have today, and would clog up the filtration system, the simple systems in these pools. So no wool swimsuits in the YMCA pools. And then it was adopted by schools in the 1920s, into the 60s, and even into the 1970s in some school districts like Minnesota.
So weird.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Probably feels nice, though.
I mean, after swim class, you went into the locker room and what? Took your swim trunks off and you got in the shower? I mean, so you were nude anyway. Not like it was co-ed, but just odd. And it sounds, I don't know. It sounds chilly. Although...
Yeah, the odd part was standing around before you do the activities in the pool.
Yeah, just everybody just, Yeah. It's like us, like pre-show with the four of us. Just nude out there in the KQ pod.
You don't know what to do.
It's a little awkward, yeah.
Another one on the text line, 651-989 Rock, the talking text line. 70s naked swimming. Yeah, the gym teacher would snap us with a towel.
No.
I've never forgotten the embarrassment.
Yeah.
No. And the sting.
No, not letting that happen. That gym teacher's car is going to end up on cinder blocks or something. We got to...
How about this one? When I was in junior high, 1975, in wrestling at STMA, I don't know what that is. Anybody? Wrestling at STMA, I drove a carload of teammates to a scrimmage at another school. I followed one coach in his vehicle, and another coach followed me. When we arrived at the scrimmage, the coach behind me with his pickup and a topper with kids sitting in the bed of the pickup was laughing, said I almost ran someone off the road as I made a lane change. Who would allow a student to drive a carload of teammates to a high school event now? Yeah, man.
That was at St. Michael Albertville High School.
There you go. All right. Another one, high school outside of Chicago, 74 to 78. The boys swam naked all 4 years. This included while playing water polo.
I mean, it would have just taken the fun out of skinny dipping in high school. I remember going out to Rose Lake, and we all went skinny dipping and we thought it was cool, but it wouldn't have been as cool if we had grown up doing it in school. We didn't have a pool at Woolsey High.
Swimming in school is just weird to me in general. We did have it in Richfield Middle School, but there was a bunch of us that just opted out. So we'd always sit on the side of the pool and just, do
rebels.
Cool kids.
Yeah,
we had on our elementary school playground, there was there was like the bars and the slide and school, and there was this one giant contraption, and it was called the Swedish Gym. That's what we called it. And it was just a really complicated set of monkey bars and different things and a rope swing and this giant monstrosity. And every year you would hear about another kid down at the Swedish Gym. Somebody fell off that thing and broke their arm or leg like once a week, it felt like. And then I came back for fourth grade and it was gone. And, I just imagine how many injuries had to happen in 1974 for them to actually dismantle a giant piece of climbing equipment on the playground.
Yeah, we had one. I came off of it and tore all the skin off the left side of my face. I was walking around like Two-Face, just one big scab. Because we had these monkey bars, but there was a couple of bars missing in the middle, so you had to kind of launch yourself out to the next bar. And we also had one of those merry-go-rounds where small ones you find at your public parks. I don't know if they're out there anymore.
The metal ones.
You get it spinning as fast as you can.
Absolutely.
It had a big jagged piece of metal hanging out of one. It would be like, oh, not that. Watch out for that one. It must have cut so many kids. No one did anything about it.
Here's another text from a listener. I was driving home from work, so I didn't want to talk. Okay, wanted to mention you know what? Hold on. That's worth waiting for. In the meantime, let's go to the phone right now. We're joined on the KQ Morning Show by Frankie Morelli, who's got a new book out, The Mob, M-O-B-B, Cookbook and Diet. Frankie, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
We're good. Thank you for calling in. You've got quite a story I'm checking out here. You own and operate a restaurant out in Colorado for years, doing very well, an award-winning restaurant. You've got a pasta company. And then around 2015, life takes a turn. You end up incarcerated. Let me just go right there. You're not a guy who had been in the joint before. That must have been a profoundly distressing and sad time.
It was extremely sad. I was very depressed. I was 2,000 miles away from my family, and I was in a maximum security federal institution, not a hotel like Martha Stewart or somebody like that.
Yeah.
They put me in the roughest place possible.
So with that in mind, I would think that, if you're going to be in a place like that, it would be a little difficult to keep your focus on, the food that you've made. You went into that situation and came out with a cookbook, basically, a book of recipes, and along the way also lost a considerable amount of weight. So it just seems to me like that was a bit of a roller coaster ride in a lot of different directions.
Yes, it was. When I first went in, I had to see a psychiatrist and a psychologist. They put me on Ramron for depression. I was very lucky that the mafia guys took a liking to me. They checked me out and seen that I was a good guy. And one of them was Nicky Scarfo Jr., who took 8 bullets to the chest and lived. And then and he took he had me checked out, and he says, "You check out good." He said, "You must have upset the wrong people, but you're a good guy, and you shouldn't be here."
Wow.
But anyway, I got stuck at a federal detention center in Philadelphia for 38 months, and then they promoted me to a suicide companion where I took care of the really crazy people, and I helped a lot of people along the way, made me feel better about myself. I started working out, and since I had a great deal of food experience, I wrote a cook and diet book for people that can't even boil water to really good chefs, because I've taught everybody from one of the best chefs I've ever met to people that can barely cook, simple Italian recipes that are good for you and will make you feel better, kind of like the Mediterranean diet.
Right.
Then along the way, I had a top-notch nutritionist, Dr. Sandra Frank, vet all the recipes. And what makes our book different than any cookbook on the market, period, it's a coffee table cookbook of highest quality. It's one that you can put on your living room table, and people will love it. A lot of people are giving us 5-star reviews. Our last book got 235-star reviews. We actually beat a famous chef in a cookbook showdown by an independent third party. And a lot of the people are saying they couldn't put the book down because MOB actually stands for mercy and optimism beyond border. Everybody deserves a second chance in life, including people like myself who have fallen. We need to get back up. And a lot of people are not perfect. Everybody has a vice, whether it's chocolate, gambling, whatever.
Boy, talk about making lemonade out of lemons. Frankie Morelli's with us on the KQ Morning Show. This is already a mind-boggling story. I don't associate my thoughts of what would happen in prison with expanding my own culinary skills and making me a more health-conscious cook and eater of food. I mean, how do you go from, you mentioned you were very depressed. You go into prison. This is not a world you're familiar with. How do you come out of there with an expanded set of culinary skills? What in the world?
Well, I ended up in the kitchen, of course, and the corrections officers liked me as well. So I was cooking for both the corrections officers and some of the wise guys. So naturally, I got stuff like extra virgin olive oil and real garlic, kind of like in Goodfellas, smuggled in, and made the meals and stuff. And that kind of protected me a little bit because Nikki told the gangs to stay away from him. He's a good guy. So I kind of had protection because where I was, which was Federal Detention Center, Philadelphia, was a maximum security federal facility. I was there for 38 months. Then I got transferred to the camp in Inglewood, Colorado, which was like a Marriott hotel compared to Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia was 6 guys who beat up 2 guys. It was really rough. I was lucky I was old, fat, and ugly at the time because there were things that went on that you couldn't imagine.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Frankie Morelli's with us on the KQ Morning Show. Frankie, can I ask, and if it's not something you're comfortable talking about, what put you in prison?
I got into prison for securities violations, and kind of similar to Martha Stewart. I had no restitution because I did make people money, so I didn't scam anybody out of any money. Actually, 130 people wrote me letters when I got sentenced, and I'd helped people my whole life. But you cannot beat the feds, whether you're Martha Stewart, Michael Milken, or whoever. Unless you're Donald Trump, you can't beat the feds. That's just the way it is.
That makes perfect sense. I guess, so for everybody you mentioned, Nicky Scarfo Jr., Frankie the Ice Pick Narducci, there's names people are kind of familiar with. But beyond that, plenty of people like yourself that nobody's ever heard of. I can imagine it's just one colorful character after another in prison.
Yes, and I even took care of Michael the Archangel. He's the guy that scaled the fence of the White House and tried to take out Donald Trump. And guess who becomes his suicide companion?
Oh, my gosh.
And I had to live with him 24/7. And
Unbelievable.
He was really whacked.
And what does he have a favorite recipe? Can you share what the Archangel likes to eat? Does he go for like a little shrimp and pasta? What's he into?
Angel hair pasta.
He's just into crazy.
He's just into crazy.
He said I told him I had a painting of Michael the Archangel defeating Lucifer, and he said, "Well, that's just a fable. I'm the real Michael the Archangel here in human form." To get rid of Donald Trump, the Antichrist. And I said, well, what about Hillary Clinton? He goes, she's just as bad. She eats babies, live babies, and boils them for breakfast.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Is that recipe in the book? Frankie, I'm looking at this. I'm on Our Mob. That's with 2bs.com. Looking at this, and you mentioned a coffee table book. These are attractive dishes. I want something like this on my plate. I can't make it, but my God, these are beautiful. I could see where you could just get lost at looking at these photos.
Yeah, and the stories are about inspiration, too. They're funny stories about real mafia guys I dealt with, and a lot of people have said they couldn't put the book down because it's different than any cookbook. Every recipe tells a story. It's fun. It's entertaining. I even have a stupid poem in there about carrots called Gladiators Blaze Carrots. It's off the charts and outside the box.
Mob cookbook. Sorry, Frankie, go ahead. I cut you off.
And we've even beat like a famous chef by an independent third-party food critic. We in Mastering Cookbooks, we made the showdown, and we actually beat Emeril Lagasse's New York steak recipe. And this is somebody I never met that just ordered our other book off the site. So we do have really good recipes, but what sets us apart is simplicity. The recipes are very simple, and somebody that can't even boil water can enjoy them to a really good chef. And the stories are about people like myself that have fallen in life. There's 2 very good stories about 2 of my partners, JJ and Kira. They both were abused as kids, ended up in prison in the drug and alcohol program, and completely turned their lives around to the good. So there's a lot of feel-good stories. Another one about a young lady that sang at Madison Square Garden, been featured in movies, and she had autism or was diagnosed with autism at 3. So a lot of our stories are about inspiration, and everybody can change their lives to the good with positive thinking, exercise, and good diet.
Frankie Morelli, the book Mob Cookbook and Diet. All right, we got to bounce, Frankie. Tell me, where can people get more? Where can people go online to get more information?
You can buy it on Amazon.
Okay.
Just go to Amazon, and our book is on Amazon, or you can go to our site, ourmob.com. marketperiod.com.
That is great. Frankie, thanks for taking the time. This is a fascinating story. We appreciate it. Man, I mean...
Ciao.
Yeah. Ciao, indeed. What in the world? All right, but that's a lot to process. Can you imagine that? Like you're well into your career and you're just doing your thing, and then all of a sudden the feds call and go, "Hey, you crossed a couple lines there, bud. You're going away for 38 months."
Luckily, there's always someone else from the mob in there, isn't there? All right, Tony's in there polishing up his toaster. That bastard. Right now on the KQ92 talk and text line, callers 902-651-989. Rock, beat the toaster for a chance for Twins tickets. The Mariners in town tomorrow, Target Field. Thank you to the Twins. Our runner-up today, kickoff to summer at the fair, May 23rd at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, that is, Minnesota State Fair. Thank you for those. 651-989. Rock, dial up. Good luck, and hang tight.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. The morning show is back, and Tony Lee is back. This is day number 3 of the Return of the King. And Tony, boy, does it feel good to be able to say what I'm about to say, which is we're going to play a hell of a game. Why don't you share with our listeners what's on tap?
Doesn't that feel good?
Wakey, eggs and bacon.
Toast.
Toast.
I would like toast.
Toast. Who wants toast? I love toast.
When this guy put some bread in a toaster, you won't believe what happened next.
You've got bread and a toaster of some kind.
Can you make me a grilled cheese sandwich?
Your breakfast is ready.
I didn't hear a ding.
The KQ Morning Show presents...
All we need to do is beat the toaster.
Beat the toaster.
It's a game show. Beat the toaster.
Breakfast is ready.
Yeah, we're back with Beat the Toaster, and it feels fine. Here's what we do. We're going to pop a slice of bread into the toaster here in the studio. Today it's Pepperidge Farm 15 grain, which is very tasty.
Nice.
We're going to give you a category. Then you name as many things that pop into your little head as possible in 15 seconds before the toast pops.
As we have reunited with Tony, I have to sing Beat the Toaster and it feels so good. But it's not going to feel good until we get a second caller because one of our contestants just dropped off the phone.
Chicken.
What's that?
He was a chicken.
Chicken.
Oh, it's just fun.
651-989 Rock. We need contestant number 2.0 to call in and get in on this. Twins tickets for tomorrow night versus the Seattle Mariners. Runner-up prize, tickets to kickoff to summer at the fair. That's May 23rd at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. So as we are awaiting caller number 2 to jump in here and compete on Beat the Toaster. Wait, sorry, Tony. What kind of bread did you say we're featuring today?
Pepperidge Farm 15 grain.
15
Steve-O.
grain. What are there 15 grains?
I don't know. I've had it. I know which one he's talking about. It comes in the wrapper inside the wrapper. That Pepperidge Farms, they really wrap
individually wrapped inside the wrapper.
Individually wrapped, yeah. Here's what I will tell you. Yeah, that's all you need. You're just chewing. It's like granola in a loaf form. But it's good. It's tasty.
All right.
I just Googled. Apparently, there's 21 different types of grains or something. What? Amaranth, barley, buckwheat, bulgur wheat, corn, einkorn, farro, okay, I've never heard of most of these. Oats, okay, quinoa.
This wasn't one of the categories, was it, Tony?
Brown rice.
Name trivia.
Oh, my God, name grain. Sorry.
What's in the
I didn't
loaf?
mean to blow the game, Tony. My bad.
Well, so this will be fun. I was out for a bit, and I had some free time and some experience with some professional grade pharmaceuticals, so I came up with some good ones.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can do while you're rehabbing. For Tony, he came up with the perfect bread recipe. All right, we've got a second caller locked and loaded. This will be fun. Candace, who's contestant number 1?
Okay, let's start off with James from Henderson.
James, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Are you ready to play Beat the Toaster?
Let's go.
Oh, I like it.
All right, my man. Warm-up round will be lightly toasted. Second round, we're going to burn it.
I like it.
All right, let's start out with a softball slice here. Tell me, sir, kinds of sauces you can get in small packets. Go.
Ketchup, mustard, oregano, Gouda, soy sauce, pesto sauce, What else we got? Salt, pepper.
I kind of got like 3.
I don't know.
A lot of those weren't
I don't know about
sauces.
you. I like a good oregano sauce.
Oregano
Like
sauce.
Gouda.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
The confidence with which he delivered oregano.
Yeah, I mean, it works.
I got there was mustard, ketchup, soy sauce, and then he said pesto.
Did
Does
we even
pesto
get
sauce
taco?
come
Did
in
we
a-
get taco sauce in there?
We didn't. I
James,
didn't
did you
hear
get
it.
taco
I
sauce?
didn't hear that.
The most obvious of
I
all
didn't
the
hear
sauces.
taco sauce. No.
If pesto sauce is allowed, it's 4.
Pesto is
Let's give it to him.
absolutely.
It's-
You can
it's
get
saucy.
that. I don't know.
All right, James. Well played, sir. 4.
Thank you.
It's a good warm up round.
I'll take it.
Salt, pepper, whatever it takes. All right, so we're gonna go to round 1 for your what's that? Zeb?
I'm just saying. I just Googled it. There's an oregano sauce here.
There's oregano sauce.
Yeah, oregano sauce, chicken broth, heavy cream, Parmesan cheese, oregano.
Does it come in a small packet though?
No, I don't see it in a small packet.
I don't think we
I'll
can
leave
go with
it
that
be.
one.
Okay, sir.
If James knew such a thing existed, I think he would have made a stronger.
Yeah,
James
he
would have
sure didn't-
stepped up.
He didn't stick up for himself.
All right, James. Listen, 4 is that's no slouch first round. So sit tight for a second. We're going to give your competition a chance to jump into the ring. Candace, who's contestant number 2?
Davey from Minneapolis.
Davey, good morning.
Davey.
Morning, guys. What's up?
We're ready to put you into the spotlight here. The white hot glare of that is Beat the Toaster. If you're ready, we're ready. Let's do it.
Well, can you give me a quick? I'm sorry, you guys are breaking up on that first part. Can you just give me a quick rundown here? I've never played this one before.
Yeah, we give you a category, and you name as many of those things in that category in 15 seconds before the toast pops in the toaster.
Got it.
You got it, sir. All right, Davey. What you're going to do is tell me quickly titles of children's books. Go.
Cat in the Hat. Lion King. Aristocats. Thomas the Tank Engine.
Oregano.
Oregano.
Oh,
The
damn.
oregano Beanfield Wars.
Not
Okay,
bad.
I got 3 is what I heard before
All right,
the
got
clang
three.
went
It's
off.
in there, yeah.
For me, Harold and the Purple Crayon always comes out first.
Good night, Moon.
Good Night Moon.
Are you my mother?
Yeah.
Go, dog, go.
Oh, are you my mother?
My dad lives in a hotel downtown now.
Go Dog Go, an absolute staple.
Absolutely.
Yeah, phenomenal. I
Yeah,
love Go Dog
favorite.
Go. Play Dogs Play, the umpire, the whole baseball
Right.
page.
Do you like
It's
my
so
hat?
great.
I do not.
That's exactly right. And then finally, boy, that party in the tree at the end of Go Dog Go,
Oh, that
it's like
looked so
a
cool.
Hollywood Hills orgy. All right, so James had 4, Davey had 3. Excellent effort, gentlemen. We're going to go now for round 2. James, you are up.
Okay.
And you're warmed up now. I think this is going to be a better round for you, Tony. Try not to break our contestant's spirit with round 2.
Oh, James can handle it. He likes a good challenge. So, sir, it was not a thoughtful gift for your birthday, but you received a bag of instant cement. What do you do with it? Go.
Make a patio, make a sidewalk, pour it in a post, set the post, put it on somebody's feet and throw them in the creek. You grunt with it. You cut point with it.
Boy, James, that is another round of 4, but boy, number 4 was special. Don't give James a bag of concrete quick mix. We've learned that lesson.
Don't pass out around James when he's got a bag of concrete quick mix. You're going in the creek. By the way, I'm just thinking if you gave someone the old cement boots and threw them in a creek, they'd go up to what, like their knees or something?
Well, yeah. It's really more to just embarrass them.
Yeah, James didn't try to kill.
It's not about drowning. It's just the humiliation of, can you help me get out of the creek?
You're not from South Dakota, are you, James?
No,
You just said creek, and that's where I grew up here in creek. I hear a lot of people here say creek, but back home it's creek. Yeah.
Yeah.
James, well played, sir. That's 8 in 2 rounds.
Nice.
We're going to put you on hold again. Davey, it's time for round 2. You need 5 to tie, 6 for the victory, Davey. Good luck to you, sir.
Roger that.
You can do it, Davey. All right, for you, an ear of corn mysteriously falls out of the sky and drops on your head. Now, tell us what happened next, but what you tell us, you have to make it rhyme. Go.
Oh, the kernels fell on the ground. I was such a bound that I picked them up and tried to feed a squirrel. The squirrel was unfurled and held it up. As I held up my hand, he came in and took a stand.
Bravo.
I mean, that's
Really beautiful.
I had no chance.
Wow,
Tough one to score, but that was fun.
Yeah, that was tough to score. I don't know.
that was.
First of all, when he said squirrel, I went, "You're screwed, dude. Nothing rhymes." Oh, and then he came with unfurl. It was beautiful. Yeah.
So for each word that rhymes, do we get a point? How does that work?
Yes, that's how that works.
Did Davey just come up with? Did he just hit 5 or was it 4? I counted 5.
I think I got.
I know I had at least 4.
It
That's
was
just one guy talking.
I think he got that last one in there.
Yeah, I think we have a tie, is what I'm saying.
Hot dog.
I think we got 8-8. Davey, boy, talk about with the pressure on coming up.
Wow.
Nose to nose.
Good display of word wealth right there. So we have a tie right now, which means Quizmaster General Attorney Lee has to come up with a tiebreaker.
All right, I have an appropriate one. My boys, in what year was the first commercially available electric toaster sold?
James, what's your answer, sir?
I would say 1929.
1929. Davey, what do you think?
I say 1943.
43.
Well, the answer is 1909.
Oh! Hold on, that's before sliced bread.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. What? Yeah.
Go figure. 1909. So that means James is the winner. He's got tickets to see the Twins and the Mariners tomorrow night. Davey, who's still in the Navy, probably will be for life. You've got kickoff to summer at the fair, May 23rd at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. Gentlemen, thank you both for playing. Well done.
Thank you.
Wow.
Well, you thought toasters were dangerous now. The first toasters did not have the casing. It was just exposed coils.
Pure heat.
I believe I read somewhere that actually the original toasters were used as a method of execution in several of the western states.
At least torture.
The penal
Look at this
system.
thing. It's just exposed red hot coils right there on the counter of your, thatch roofed home.
Thatched roof home.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would imagine early toasters. That was like the cornballer on Arrested Development.
Yeah,
just nothing but burns on the hands. Ow! Ow! Damn it!
You just couldn't get enough of those cornballs. Yeah, these things were,
There was actually when they used to sell toasters in the old days, they came with Neosporin. It was now,
it's just taped to the side.
Yeah, that was exactly right. A tube of family-sized tube of Neosporin with every toaster sold. My dad was he was an airplane mechanic, a propeller mechanic specifically when he was in the Marine Corps. He worked on Corsairs, those planes that had the bent wings. The
Black Sheep.
Yeah, Baba Black Sheep. He was a propeller mechanic on the Corsairs in the late 40s. And he just clearly loved things that spun around because he was really big into fans. And as an older gent, he would buy old room fans from the 30s. And like on eBay, he'd find them and he would rehabilitate them. He would get them working again, replace the circuitry and the wiring and all that. And
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. I have one. It would sit right here on this desk if it were here. It weighs 39 pounds.
Yeah,
it's tiny.
Cast iron.
Just solid cast iron. And the mesh around the fan blades, you can stick your whole hand through. It's just for decorative purposes. Like, here, this will protect you from not getting smashed by the fan as long as you stay far away from it.
That's the pinky that went in the fan back in the day. The metal fan almost cut it off.
No kidding.
Many injuries. Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, and it's still got the old cord. It's
fraying?
It's works. But the cord itself, the cable, the cord that you plug in, it's the material on top of it. It's almost like not felt.
It's cloth.
It's cloth.
Yeah,
It's a cloth
okay.
cover.
It's like a woven cloth.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I couldn't come up with the word I was trying to say.
Highly flammable.
But that thing still worked. He would find them and refurbish them and then just send them to his kids. It was like, I don't have much to say to you, but here's a cool ass old fan, and it was great. I love that thing.
That's cares.
Yeah, it's right there.
Does it oscillate?
It oscillates.
Nice.
It does. No. I'm sorry. Mine, the one he gave me doesn't, but there are some from that era that do. I got a non-oscillating fan, which it's fine.
They have different speeds, or is it just?
It's just one thing on the one lever, one knob, like little, and it just. Yeah, it goes.
All right, gets the job done.
It does. We used it for about a month, and then the power bill had tripled, so I don't use it much. Yeah, that's how that was. Earlier on the show, we were discussing things from school from back in the 70s, things that were so different. I mentioned that when I was a kid, the Swedish gym was what we called this giant set of climbing bars on our elementary school playground. And we came back for school my 4th grade year, and it was gone. They just took it away because, you never knew if it was true urban school legend but like every week somebody broke a leg, somebody broke a face, somebody broke an arm. People were falling off this thing every damn day, it seemed like. And I'm reminded of that because I'm looking at the KQ Talk and text line. Here's a text. Wanted to mention a male gymnast, friends with my older brother and several of my friends. He did a high double flip on the trampoline at school. When he landed, he ended up with his legs going on each side of the outer springs to the floor. He broke both femurs.
Oh, man.
They outlawed trampolines at any schools from that point on.
Yeah.
A little bit of history from the 70s. So, to get something outlawed in the 70s at school, there had to be double femurs involved.
Yeah.
It had to be a severely traumatic injury.
I think I said this last week, or maybe I told you this up off air, or maybe I don't remember if it was on the air, but I saw something the other day, and there was a couple of ER radiologists talking about the things that they've learned being X-ray techs in the ER. And this is one thing I'll never do, and this is one thing I'll never do. And the one guy said, I'll never ride a motorcycle. And the other guy kind of nods. He goes, yeah. And then he goes, I'll never get on or allow my kids to be anywhere near a trampoline. And then the other guy goes, oh, yeah, that's it. That's actually the one. And they just went into a series of, he's like, trampolines have caused more, just this whole thing about like what they see from trampolines. And I remember very clearly the first time I went to my brother's house, and he had gotten a trampoline for his kids. And I was like, this is like 20 years ago. And they're little. I'm like, aren't those can kind of be dangerous, right? I think I saw something about those. Not quite like lawn darts, but pretty close. And my nephew Joey, who it's also Joey Gorman's birthday. He's 32 today. Happy birthday, JoJo.
Happy birthday, Joey.
Right on. He comes around and he goes, Uncle Steve, watch this. And he gets on a trampoline, he gets a few jumps, and then he goes for the big move and is just airborne right off that sucker. And I'm like, whoa! And he landed fine and rolled out of it. But he's like, oh, that was scary. And I'm like, yeah, maybe not.
Right.
Maybe we'll just not do the trampoline today when Uncle Steve's watching you.
Yeah, we have one in the backyard. Every time the guys get on there, it makes me
Does it have the
nervous.
safety netting around it? Yeah. We got one for the girls, too. It had the safety netting around it, which lasted for about 2 storms.
Yeah, it doesn't last.
Then it collapses, tears off, and then it's, well, just be careful. And before you know it, that sucker's up next to because the neighborhood boys had it pulled over to the deck, and they're launching off the deck, and I might have once or twice.
Once or twice.
Yeah.
That's what
they're
do.
Fun. That's what you do. And surprisingly, I'm like, I'm going to bounce on the trampoline. That looks like fun. I was thinking in my 40s at the time. I lasted for about 30 seconds. I didn't realize bouncing was so much damn work. So they're good for fitness. But, yeah, it says here the most common injury on a trampoline. Bloody nose, a sprain perhaps, hurt feelings, no fractures. Fractures, number one.
I was jumping on a trampoline once with the neighbor kid, Jake, and he was taller than me. So when we jumped together, I came down first, and he came down shortly after, and his teeth nicked the top of my head, and I started gushing blood.
Oh my gosh!
And we had to go to the. I didn't want to go home because I didn't want to I thought I was going to get in trouble. So instead, I went to the gas station down the pump and munch down the street, and just cleaned up in the bathroom. And then went home and then bled all over my pillow. My mom was like, "What the heck?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he
Beat that,
apologize?
bitch. Did he apologize? No, he was a mean neighbor boy.
Oh, he probably hurt his tooth. It's probably still stuck in your scalp somewhere.
I taste like Candace.
I tell you what, just the tooth into the scalp, it just puts such a vision in my head of, and just it just sets. There's something about my entire central nervous system just got triggered with that. I'm like, have I slammed a tooth into someone else's head, or did it happen to me? I don't remember it, but I feel like that's been a part of my life on some level, and I'm just not finding the actual story. Oh, that is rough, man. Golly, the head injury. Yeah, I can just see it. Now I'm remembering a time when my brother Dave picked up like a double A battery, or no, it wasn't. It was like a 9-volt, one of the little ones with the two things
Square
on the top.
ones?
Yeah. He threw it into the air as high as anybody's ever thrown anything. Just picked it up and just launched it, and it came right down on my friend Davey Hull's head. And it looked like the Zapruder film. I mean, just boom. And the head. It's the first time I ever heard the words, "Well, head injuries bleed a lot." Because I literally thought he must be dead now, and it was like, no, it's just because it's his head and it's bleeding.
Blood everywhere, just a little nick on the head.
Literally everywhere.
Can you imagine Candace's blonde hair?
That's what I'm.
And Casper-like skin with a little bit of blood. It must have, probably.
It was
like
everywhere, and also we
massacre.
snuck into someone's it wasn't our trampoline. We snuck into their trampoline, so I was like, I can't go home. I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna get grounded
You
or
broke
something.
so many rules.
And
And being on a trampoline with a boy. Not cool.
Don't get on that trampoline. That'll lead to dancing. That's the old joke. Why don't Southern Baptists have sex standing up? It could lead to dancing. Sure. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that applies up here. Southern Baptist thing. They're kind of serious.
Lutherans, we call them up here.
Okay, fair enough. It does the same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're the sort of person who doesn't care to look at your phone to find out what time it is, you still do any of us wear watches? You have an Apple Watch, right?
Yeah, I've got one of the Apple.
I love to wear watches.
Check it out.
Oh my God, I'm watching.
Son of a gun. I have to shut it off when I'm on the air.
Snoopy dancing on your phone.
I wear mine as jewelry, though, not for time.
So you're wearing but you wear a stylish watch.
I like to wear watches,
Yeah, you like to wear a watch. Well, then you might want to be paying attention. I can tell you about a few watches that will be available if you want to slap leather, as they say. And oddly enough, there's a Sylvester Stallone angle to this story. So Rocky and watches and the Venn diagram therein. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show for Wednesday, May the 8th. Good morning. A retired New York Police Department detective named Paul D'Onofrio made a pretty fascinating discovery. He's a detective, so he detects things.
Yeah.
He's a curious guy. He keeps his eyes open. He keeps his ear to the ground. Recently, Paul McCartney posted a video on his Instagram account. Paul McCartney has an exhibition of some of his artwork in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to go on social media to say, hey, I'm coming to Brooklyn. And what he did was he posted footage of a fan from 1964 when the Beatles were at the Ed Sullivan Theater. There was a fan interviewed on the street, with a TV camera, and Paul posted her video first. Take a listen to this.
And Paul McCartney, if you are listening, Adrian from Brooklyn loves you with all her heart.
Hey, Adrian. It's Paul. Listen, I saw your video. I'm in Brooklyn now. I'm in New York. I finally got here. We've got an exhibition, photo exhibition. Come along and see it.
So this hits all the socials, and the footage is very sweet. Obviously, it's at the height of initial Beatlemania. And as you heard, Adrian from Brooklyn, that heartwarming, lovely lilt of a Brooklyn accent.
Paul McCartney.
Oh, just one more time.
And Paul McCartney, if you are listening, Adrian from Brooklyn loves you with all her heart.
Oh, she means it.
So now back to the recently retired New York City detective, John. I said Paul. His name is John D'Onofrio. He saw that post and went, I think that's my mom.
Amazing.
No way.
I think that's my mom called his sister. They did a little research. And yes, it is Adrian D'Onofrio, who is Adrian from Brooklyn, who is sadly no longer with us. She passed away in 1992.
It was a long time ago.
A long time ago. But imagine this: being he's around our age. You know, we're all of the similar age. What if you just looked up and Paul McCartney was sharing a video of your mom at 15 expressing her love? Footage you've never seen. Footage you never knew existed, but there it is, your mom as a teenage girl. And he said, we played the Beatles in my house when I was a kid all the time.
I bet.
My mom told me the story. She played hooky, skipped school that day to go hang out near the Ed Sullivan Theater just because the Beatles were in town, and she was interviewed. I freak out when I see a picture that I've never seen before. More importantly, a picture that I never knew was taken. Like back in the old days, you know, like I will occasionally, a buddy will get in touch with me from high school or college and say, hey, we were looking through this, check this out.
Right.
You know, a dear friend of mine from high school, his dad passed away a few years ago, and as they're going through stuff, he found a photo of me and him and his brother and his dad just sitting in the house, and he sent it to me. And I'm like,
it's the best.
When you see a picture that not only you've never seen, but you didn't even know had been taken, it's always like you just stop for a minute, or I do anyway. And I stared at that photo. The idea, the thought of seeing of my mom as a teenager on film, speaking excitedly about anything, much less the Beatles, I just can't even imagine. What a moment.
So emotional. I had that moment a couple of summers ago. My Aunt Jane, my mom's younger sister, she has those Weibly girls, love their photo albums. Mom has volume 1 through 50 of photo albums at home that we still love to go through. But my Aunt Jane took hers and started putting them on Facebook. She would scan them and put them on Facebook. All these photos that I never saw growing up with my mother. And it was magical. It was awesome. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
and
so cool.
Yeah, I just love it. I was sitting here thinking about that as you brought us into it. Yeah.
We have slides. The family photos were all developed in the 50s and 60s as slides and 70s. And so every few years, you know, when I was a kid, we'd pull them all out, you know, around the holidays, pull out the slide projector and just line them up and just right up against the living room wall and just all laugh, and we'd make fun of each other. And it was always a really cool thing.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier in the show, a dear friend of mine for 42 years, we met on this day in 1982, later dated for a few years. It's her birthday. She's 60. Happy birthday, Kath. Her family, great. I'm very close with all of her family. Same age, kids in the 60s and 70s. They had a Super 8 camera. And as did their aunt and uncle. And like 10 years ago, their aunt and uncle were like, hey, we finally got all these old home movies from the 60s and 70s developed, and they sent them on DVD. And so they were like, wait, you were shooting us at the beach as kids? We didn't even know.
Sure.
Wow.
And to get like hours of footage of your childhood with your 6 siblings that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And she was telling me about it, and I got emotional, and it's not even my family.
Right.
If there was footage of the Gormans sitting around the Christmas tree in 1972 that I could see right now, I couldn't watch it. I think it would.
Yeah.
I think it would literally it would wipe me out for a week.
Yeah.
Incredible. And so anyway, back to this story. So of all the ways to come across footage of your mom as a teenager, Paul McCartney of all people is sharing it. Hey, Adrian, I'm in Brooklyn. Let's get together. And you know it would have been awesome if she were still with us, if Adrian had been able to turn up.
Yeah.
And it reminds me, Ringo Starr put out a book a few years ago, a book of his photographs.
Yeah.
And very famously, he took a picture, and I think it was in Miami, of a car, 4 teenagers in a car that were driving alongside the Beatles limo. He just held up his camera, boom, and it's 4 kids looking at him. But then at the same time, I'm like, no, they were like from Coney Island, wherever it was. But those 4 people were still alive, and when his book came out, they got together and reshot the photo now, all those years later, and they met him on like the Today Show, But I mean, imagine that you don't remember that Ringo Starr took your photo. Like he puts out a book, and you're like, I mean, these are the guys from the biggest band ever, and you're like, hey, Ringo's got a new photo book, and there's me and my 3 friends. What the hell?
Right?
I mean, it must have been an incredible, and all of this to say, as of right now, today on Disney Plus, yet another Beatles bit of content is hitting the streaming service. the film Let It Be, which was released in 1970, has been refurbished and, gussied up, remixed, remastered, all the things you do to these films, and it's now streaming on Disney Plus. Now, the Get Back documentary from a couple years ago, that's 8 hours long. Peter Jackson, it's the same. It's from the same footage. What happened in 1969 was Michael Lindsay Hogg directed. He shot 50 hours of footage of the Beatles making what became the Let It Be album. He then cut like a short movie, 90 minutes or so. It was called Let It Be. It was released. Not really a narrative. It's just sort of disparate scenes of them working. It didn't really tie together, make a lot of sense. And for 50 plus years, people have said, oh, that movie Let It Be is really depressing. It's sad. They're breaking up. Peter Jackson went in there and got all the footage and cut an 8-hour version that shows something very different, which is, no, they're still pretty great, and they're having fun, and they're laughing. Well, now, all this to say, the original Let It Be Again has been buffed up and cleaned up, and it's streaming. And, of course, people are now looking at that and going, well, it's not so bad. We thought it was horrible in 1970. It looks pretty good. So I'm sure Disney will set a new record for streams today because after 54 years, the Beatles are still the biggest band on earth.
So I just checked my Disney Plus app. It's already up there. Ringo Starr here talking about the original Let It Be compared to 2021's Get Back.
The original documentary was so directed at one moment in the band. And, you got 4 guys in the room. There's a lot of laughter. There's some shouting. There's a bit of agitation. And that's all Michael Lindsay Hogg, I felt, dialed in on. And I've always said, we had a lot of fun as well. And Peter Jackson has found a lot of fun because we did find 56 unused hours of the video.
Yeah.
If you think back to, or don't have to think back, but if you watch a segment on TV, and I saw an old segment from the 90s the other day where David Letterman took over a Taco Bell drive-thru.
Oh, the best.
And took orders, right? And it's so funny.
Classic.
And it's like a 4-minute clip, but they shot him for 4 hours to get those 4 minutes.
Sure.
Like any bit like that, you shoot a ton and you whittle it down to get the great stuff. Well, a band in the studio, you got 56 hours. A lot of it is just like, yeah, seriously, how many times are you going to play that note waiting for inspiration? but then all of a sudden, boom, he's like starts humming, and then you watch Get Back get written, and it's like, oh my God, it was amazing. But it's preceded and followed by 9 hours of people making toast. It's just how that goes.
Right. Peter Jackson gives you the fly on the wall moment.
Yeah.
What would it be like to be a fly on the wall at EMI Studios, at Apple Studios, when they eventually moved the production over there, and those sorts of things. And then, of course, it's fascinating. 8 hours flies by. I watched it, like most of us, probably in real time as it was being released. I think I got up at like 6 o'clock in the morning to start watching the next episode. Right. But you wanted all those little moments that, you could possibly get from the Beatles. And I guess, so now you say 56 hours of unused film. Get Back was 8 hours long. Peter Jackson, do we know if he's working on a sequel, or is that just too much?
Who knows?
I want to see all 56 hours.
I would too.
I tell you what, man. If I still think sometimes Peter Jackson's going to get on Instagram and go, you won't believe this, but I've found 71 hours of Revolver sessions, and that's when I will literally like tattoo something on my forehead. Like, please show me the Revolver sessions. That's what I want to see.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
I tell you, man. I think I told this story before, but in 2019. The last time I was spent time with Ringo, and I don't say that like, look, I just feel like lucky as hell that I met the guy, know him, we get along. I like a lot of people. I'm like, I'm friends with Ringo Starr, which he's very friendly. He's always been great to me, but it's not like we, exchange Christmas cards and recipes and stuff. But that said, in 2019 in Philadelphia, I went to see him, and we spent about 30 minutes in his dressing room before the show, just me and him, just talking. And I was, it was of the times I've spent with him, it was the only time I had that much time just us. There's always a lot of people around, and for once, it was just like. Just 2 dudes sitting on a couch talking. And it was great. But at some point, he was talking about his first time, the Beatles, that trip to the States the very first time, and coming to play Ed Sullivan and flying in and seeing the New York City skyline and being on the plane. And he was talking about that very personal memories, and he kept saying we and we this and we that and we this. And some point in the conversation, I looked at him, I was like, we means the Beatles.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, that's the same guy. Like you think of Ringo now, he's the 80-some-odd-year-old Ringo that you know, and he's like, oh, he's that guy, and yeah, he's always been there. But then I'm like, wait, but he's literally, that's still the same dude on that drum kit at Ed Sullivan that was, singing Boys. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, I got to keep my cool, because I'm just like... And I was just like, we means the Beatles. Like, no one else. There's only two guys that can say we. Yeah, he's one of them.
I mean, there's a handful of people, I suppose, on the planet where you never really forget you're in their presence. I forget which rockumentary I was watching. Oh, I think it was something with Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters when he had resurrected that soundboard from Sound Studios. Anyway, Paul McCartney came in, did a little piece with him, and he said, it's funny, when you meet Paul McCartney, you get the feeling that he knows what it's like to meet Paul McCartney. He's always so gracious with you, and he lets you stumble around and be a fanboy, and he doesn't get too annoyed with the entire process, because for the last 60 years of his life, people have just been gaga around him.
Yeah, it really is 60 now. For those guys, 61 years, because England was 63, U.S. was 64. So for them, 61 years of just being that.
Yep.
I mean, at Ringo's... What's the word? Nadir. At the lowest level of public acknowledgement or renown.
Caveman?
Post-caveman. I mean, really,
sure.
like there was early 80s, he was, between Caveman and the first Ringo's All-Star Tour, he was kind of invisible. It's like, so let's say 1983. What was Ringo doing? Where was he? Still... I don't know, one of the 20 most recognizable humans on planet Earth. Like at his lowest point of recognizability, he was still that guy in the Beatles. And I've been around some, celebs and stuff, but it's just unimaginable, like what that is for them. And McCartney, to his credit, and I've never met Paul McCartney. I know people who have worked with him in various capacities. And the one thing they all say is he literally just gets up every single day and he's just like, what's happening today? How much can I possibly get done today? And a friend of mine was working in promotion. My buddy Karen, you guys met Karen. She was in town last year.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
Worked in the record business for 40 years. She's retired now. Well, one of his albums in the last 10 years, she was doing the promo stuff in the city with him. And she took him to a performing arts high school in Queens. Like, Paul McCartney's coming by today, kids, for a little Q&A and some music. And it was supposed to be 30 minutes, and he stayed for 90 minutes. And he was bringing kids on stage and sit down at the piano. You play this, I'll play this. And answering all their questions. And, he just didn't want to leave.
I quit doing all of that stuff professionally when I was 27. I was just I'm not doing that.
And my friend Karen was like, I'm just sitting there next to this guy, like, what in the world is in your tea?
There's a motor in that. But that's how you sit. That's how you get up every day and you start writing. That's how you write 1,000 songs.
And she said the last question of the day, they had time for one last question, and the kid stood up and said, what's the downside to everywhere you go, you're the most famous. There's no one on earth that's more famous than you. There's nobody that causes more of a you walk into a restaurant, you walk into this school, wherever you go. What's what has been the downside of that? And he goes, none. There's nothing. No. He goes, he goes, if this is the price to pay to do exactly what I've always wanted to do every day of my life, it's great. He goes, I'm just thrilled with my life, and not cocky at all. Just what are you talking about? He didn't say it, but of course you're like, well, let's see. I was born during a bombing raid in Liverpool. I didn't have an extra tin of beans till I was 20. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. I got it.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
Amazing. What are you doing after the show today, Steve?
I'm going to go eat a tin of beans and try to write "Let It Be" too. Just to see if maybe that's the secret. Oh my gosh! You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go watch "Let It Be" on Disney Plus. That is actually the real answer. Yeah. My afternoon is now spoken for. Feels good. Yes, I will go watch a movie that I haven't seen in years and years and years, and it will all be new to me again. And at some point, because I'm me, I'll cry. That's how that'll go. Probably right around the time they're on the rooftop and they hit I Got a Feeling, and I watch Ringo for the 1 billionth time play that groove so effortlessly and then acknowledge that no one else on planet Earth can make it feel like that. That's when I'll start to go like, it's really pretty incredible. And then I'll get on the Signal app and I'll text my friend Tomo in Germany, who is already watching it and crying as well. That's my afternoon, in case you're really wondering.
Not a bad afternoon.
No.
Yeah. So before all that happens, though, we do have a sports and music history lesson to get to, so hang tight. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. I just made the mistake of looking at my phone during the commercial break. And
can I get you a tissue?
Got some photos.
Between the Beatles, Let It Be, and that photo, you're going to have an emotional day, my man.
Yesterday, so my son's he's got to take a couple classes this summer, which means he's already taken a couple online classes, and in a month, those will be done, and then he is done with college. So, but yesterday was his last day on the campus at Indiana University, and I just got a photo of him standing the very famous gates they're called the sample gates at IU.
Okay.
And so Rosemary just sent me some photos of him at the sample gates as that was his parting shot as he was leaving town.
Yeah.
So he's saying goodbye to his college town, and the rest of his life is in front of him. And I just saw those photos, and I'm like, that's why you don't look at your phone during the show.
He was just starting to recover from the Beatles. Let It Be episode. And if I could pile on, because that's what I do best.
Yeah, feel free.
Now having a kid 31 and 27, once they get through those college years, up until then, the moments come fast and furious. They do slow down a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then after college, you're basically waiting for an engagement or someone to get knocked up. So, the moments do slow down a little bit. Well, that's...
We're not rushing into any of that. They can slow down all they want between that. I'm not ready to be grandpa anybody right now.
Just want to hold on. Augie has 5th grade graduation coming up.
Oh.
Wow. But it stings.
Fast and furious, though. You've still got about 200 to look forward to. Great moments like that, sentimental moments. Yeah.
Anybody here, Candace, Brian, Tony, any of you boy or Girl Scouts back in the day?
Nope.
I was a Cub.
You're a Cub Scout?
Webelos for
the Webelos, that's right. I forgot about Webelos.
My dad was very much, I'll show you how to tie a knot. We were on the farm.
Your life was a Cub Scout experience.
A bit. So, no, we didn't have much of it. So no Cub Scouts for me or Webelos.
Yeah, my older brothers were all in the Boy Scouts as kids. By the time the younger group came around, it wasn't the same thing. My dad was actually a scout leader.
Sure.
Like my dad of the 60s, with my older siblings, I think it changed a lot by the 70s with me as far as his, involvement and having time to be around.
Kid.
Yeah, by the 8th kid. Like I said, when I tell people I had cavities as a kid, they're like, how? I'm like, do you think my parents were checking to see if we brushed our teeth? I was the 8th. My brother had perfect teeth. He was an Eagle Scout, and he got all A's. I was not. But anyway, they were into scouting, and I always heard the story of they did a trip out in the snow. They hiked out and they camped in the snow, and they woke up and there were tracks all around their campsite, and they'd been Wolverine tracks, but they never saw them. And then I read something that said there hadn't been Wolverines in the state of Michigan since the 1800s, so it was all a lie.
It's probably a dog.
These things happen. It was
That's like in the state of Montana. It's like, oh my God, these are wolf tracks. Are these bear tracks? No, that would be the German Shepherd that's 20 yards in front of us.
I was going to say it's a standard poodle, actually, not Fifi showed up in the middle of the camping trip. But anyway, so I grew up thinking and just assuming I'm going to be a Boy Scout one day. My brother. The reason I've just thought of all this. Okay, after 114 years, the Boy Scouts of America are changing their name. Mm-hmm. They're rebranding. It is now Scouting America.
All right, well.
It's no longer the Boy Scouts of America. It is Scouting America. In an effort to be more inclusive, the Boy Scouts have allowed girls since 2018.
Right.
Which is interesting because there is also, of course, the Girl Scouts. My daughter was a brownie. And on her way to being a Girl Scout, and at some point, karate gave way to her karate career, if you will. She had to make a choice, and she went with karate. But she was on her way, and I love the brownies and the Girl Scout stuff they were doing. It was fun. So anyway, but Scouting America is now how it's been rebranded. Over 6,000 girls since 2018 have already made Eagle Scout.
All right, now the Girl Scouts hasn't been folded in because they're like a Fortune 500 company.
It's still a separate
company. They're selling
company.
Cookies. That's a whole different deal. Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, if the Boy Scouts wanted to compete, they'd have to come up with their own cookie line. I mean, that's the only thing.
Good luck.
So they there's no longer a Boy Scouts of America. It is called Scouting America. And when I read that, my first thought was, man, I thought I was always going to be a Boy Scout. And then I was reminded of why I wasn't. Because I did go to one Boy Scout meeting in 6th grade. My friend Brooke and I went to it's just an informal get-together to see if you want to become a scout. And I was like, cool, because my older brothers had been Boy Scouts, and now I was ready, and I wanted to check it out. And we went to like a basement of a church, which now I realize was probably just wrapping up an AA meeting when we walked in. You know, that same room, the same stale coffee, and
there was one guy that didn't get up and leave after the AA meeting. He was the scout leader.
There was he's like, hi, my name is Mike, and I'm a scout leader. I'm a scout leader. So we went into this, room in the basement of a church, and the scout leader got up and he gave his spiel, and we were all just having fun. It was a bunch of 5th and 6th grade boys. And all I know is I'm in the middle of this, and I'm kind of vibing it out. And he goes, okay, we're going to do something here. And there was a bunch of boys that were already scouts. That's what it was. They invited friends who were not already scouts. So our buddy Danny had invited me and Brooke, so we're there. And the boys who were already scouts line up in a line, and then they kind of spread their legs. And then the thing was, the new guys are going to crawl on their hands and knees through the legs of the scouts, and they'll all take their belts off and give us a lick on the ass with their belt. They'll whip us as we go through.
Great idea.
Like supposed to be
fraternity.
It was supposed to be yeah. Thank you, sir. May I have another? In one moment, I'm in 6th grade. Now I'm Delta Tau Chi, pledging alongside Greg Marmalard. And so, and all these guys are like, okay. And they start crawling, and everyone's laughing and acting like it's hilarious. And I just stood there, and I was like, no, I'm not about to do that. No. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. He's like, hey, come on, let's go. And I was like, no, I don't think so. And it's funny because I look back at myself, and at that age, I was a very agreeable kid. I'm actually surprised I just was like, no. I'm surprised that it was so easy, but I remember very clearly just like, dude, there is no way in hell I'm going to crawl on my hands and knees through the legs of 12 boys while they whip my ass with a belt. Yeah. What planet are you from?
You know, in the Army, that's where they go, all right, you kids that crawled through the legs, you're enlisted, you go get in the barracks where you're going to charge a pillbox someday and dig trenches, and Steve, you're going to be an officer. Yeah. You're going to date beautiful women and eat nice meals and sleep in a big tent way in the back.
Well, that's good to know. There's Hope Springs eternal. I'll get there one day. I was still just like so shocked by that. And he said, well, if you're not going to do this, I don't think you're have a hard time being a scout. And I said,
I'm learning how to make a fire.
I looked at the guy. I was like, oh no, I'm not worried. I'm not going to do this. No, I've learned that this is all I need to see. I'm out, man.
Good. This is the prequel.
Yeah. I just thought, what a strange thing.
I'm going down to the Y and swimming naked with the rest of my friends.
Yeah, that'll show them.
And it'll show somebody something. And then, but then I'm reminded too, even more oddly inappropriate scout stuff. My brother Dave, so he's 4 years older than me. So 1974 or 5, all I know is we still lived in Maryland. He was a Boy Scout, and his Boy Scout troop, I can't believe this. They went to Europe.
What?
They had a trip where his Boy Scout troop went to Belgium and the Netherlands.
What?
And not only did they go to the Netherlands, they went to Amsterdam. And not only did they go to Amsterdam, they all walked through the red light district.
How old?
He was in 8th grade.
Oh my gosh. All right.
A bunch of boys entering 8th grade going around the red light district in Amsterdam. And
That's
I mean,
awfully heterosexual for the Boy Scouts.
they have there's all sorts of things in the red light district.
That's true.
But so in the family slides, there's like a picture of him in our driveway. It's still pitch black because he's up at 4 a.m. to go to the airport for, and it's just him in his Boy Scout uniform. I can see the picture, just like there's Dave. And then there's a picture when he got home. And then he brought a camera, and he's got pictures of like tulips and wooden shoes and just normal stuff. But then he's like, there's this place called the red light district. And girls were in the windows, and like you could think they're prostitutes. So, I mean, I'm just like, we're all like, wait, what? Like this is what the Boy Scout.
It's not like the red light district is on the way to the Anne Frank Museum or the Canal District.
It's just a walking city. You make a wrong turn, you end up. It's not that big of an area. But I imagine what was going on. Those scout leaders like, hey, boys, here's a historic great city, Amsterdam. Have a good day. Be back here in 6 hours.
Yeah, when I was in Cubs, we would whittle sticks.
Yeah. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I can't believe they went to Europe. I mean, the red light district thing's just crazy.
Or
but
whatever. Yeah.
No, I'm like, what here's the craziest part now on top of it. My dad was unemployed when this happened. He hadn't got his new job yet.
Unbelievable.
Wow, what was it? Was it like S&H green stamps for airline tickets? What the hell was happening?
Maybe they had some Belgian kids come over here to their version of the Boy Scouts.
You know
was
what?
it one of those trade deals?
I'm gonna send a text or two and have a follow-up tomorrow because I'm not remembering this wrong. I know that he went to Europe, to Belgium and the Netherlands with his Boy Scout troops, and I know they went to the red light district.
It's been
so
a
I'm gonna get the
fundraiser
details.
of some sort.
Yeah, what are you selling?
What's in those chocolate chip cookies?
Hey, now.
We're having a bake sale, and at the end of the bake sale, we're so stoned, we're like, let's send these kids to Europe.
Oh, Gorman.
It's crazy.
Oh, Gorman.
Oh, Gorman. Where'd that come from? Wow. One other thing to share really quickly, as long as we're talking about things that this is a whole show of non sequiturs. I saw a back specialist who said there's one real simple tip to give you to make sure you don't have a back injury. Real easy thing to remember.
Okay.
And that's real simple. Do not bend, lift, and twist at the same time.
I couldn't if I wanted to.
Don't bend, lift, and twist at the same time.
Bend, lift, and twist.
Because some people clearly need to hear that. I was one of those people in 2013. I've had one significant back situation because I bent, twisted, and lifted all at the same time. It shut me down.
Kama Sutra?
Oh my God, a disc or something. I had a desiccated disc in the or something. I don't even remember. All I know is
there he goes.
Oh, God. 1 minute I'm standing upright, and the next minute I'm literally unable to move. And when you throw the lower back out, like all the strength, you have no strength anywhere in your body. Yeah. Like I couldn't. Like my arms felt weak, my legs were weak.
This wasn't during March Madness, was it?
It was not during March Madness.
I thought maybe you might have been faking it to get some couch time.
I was not faking it. I was on tour when it happened. I was in Denver, Colorado.
Well, when it happens, and I've seen it happen to people. I've had a herniated disc, very painful when I was younger, but my back didn't go out, as they say. We all know what that's like. Yeah, but I've seen it happen to some guys, and when it does, you're done. I mean, you're dead in the water.
It's shocking. It's literally like you just unplug an appliance. It's the same thing. And so the original injury came not from, I didn't do all these things at once. I kind of bent over. I didn't lift something, but I grabbed, as weird as this sounds, I grabbed a wheelchair that was basically a runaway wheelchair with someone in it. It was just going down a ramp, and the kid, it was like a motorized wheelchair that the motorized stuff had all been disconnected, so it was just rolling.
But neutral?
It was really heavy, and it was parents and their kid. They had two kids, one in a wheelchair, one in a stroller, and they got complicated. They got distracted by the stroller, and we're on a street corner, and it had like a little downward slope, and it just started to roll away, and I'm just approaching it, and I'm like, And I noticed, those parents have no idea that behind them there are other kids rolling away from them.
Yeah.
And so I just stuck one hand out and grabbed it and stopped it. And it didn't feel anything at the time. I just grabbed it, and I was like, God, wow, this thing's way heavier than I thought it was going to be.
Motor.
Yeah, because it was going past me, and I grabbed it with my right arm, reached out to the right, grabbed it with my right arm, kind of spun a little because it pulled me. I was surprised.
The twist.
And then they were like, and then the parents immediately like, oh my God, thank you. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Everybody good. And then I just like keep on walking back to my hotel. And within one block, I'm like, I don't feel so good a lot all the time. And by the time I got back to my room, I was walking in a weird, I was just standing. My knees were sort of bent and I couldn't straighten my legs out. By the time I got to my bed, I just laid on my side and I could not move.
Damn.
I literally, and thankfully it was a night off, had a gig the next day. The next day, I could sit and I could stand, but in between the two was so painful. But once I sat, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
I played a whole show barely moving my arms and legs. I told everyone, I was like, hey, mostly acoustic. I can barely.
Kind of phoning it in tonight, aren't you, Steve?
It was unreal. And so anyway, got that dealt with. Muscle relaxers was the main thing. I finally got some really powerful muscle relaxers because all the muscles in my back were just so janked up. But then the twisting crazy thing came like a month later after I was like over it. It was Thanksgiving, and I was getting groceries from the cart into the back of the car. And that is like I picked up groceries and I spun, I like swivel around like a normal human being does. And I was holding, at the time, a bag filled with the bread you get for stuffing, just like the bread crumbs.
Yeah, right.
It weighed 9 ounces. And I spun to put it in the trunk, and my back went out again, and I just fell in a parking lot. And Rosemary's like, oh, my God. And I was like, it's the breadcrumbs. It was those 9 ounces of breadcrumbs that did me in.
I'm falling.
There's nothing worse.
We need to get him a life alert.
Bending, lifting, and twisting. All great things, but just not together.
But you were a hero. That's what caused it.
No dance contest for you, mister.
If I could go back in time, I honestly, I'd say this sincerely and with love. I'd let that kid get hit by a car. Man, it just wasn't worth it.
The moral of the story is don't try to help.
Nobody saw it except for that family. No, there's not CCTV cameras that I'm aware of. No, when you're gonna save the day, by God, do it on TV. Just make sure somebody sees it.
Or do it with your legs. Don't do it with your back.
That's exactly right. Lessons to be learned at every turn. That's the good thing. See, that's the good thing about us getting here and us all getting together in the morning. I feel like I learned something today.
You got to talk your way through it.
Yeah. Ooh, man. It's called, what do they call that? Processing in real time. Or they call it something.
Well, there's Bob Dylan and there's Woody. Someone wake him up. I think he passed out here at the station again last night. It's time for Woody, and every weekday at noon, it's a free ride. Minnesota's commercial-free classic rock on 92 KQRS.